Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I hope you're all still alive. Has summer killed you yet? Have you gone to a
Yeah.
movie theater? Was it sanitized? Because the movies certainly are. It's good to be back, my man. It's
Oh,
good to be back.
it is. It is indeed.
I'm in
Um.
the big comfy chair again.
Uh-oh. I,
Hmm.
I got a big comfy chair too, Chester. I got it for free.
Oh, nice.
Facebook Marketplace is a wonderful place. Wonderful place. We'll just give away stuff like that all the like. This chair was probably, I don't know, almost $1,000 or so, brand new. And the person just gave it. Just, here you go. Have a chair. I said, all right, I'll have a chair. In fact, I got two. The other one's in my garage.
Hmm. Free
They just
stuff.
gave it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
sharing is
They,
caring. Roger says,
it's
welcome
supposed
back,
to be a
Chester Son.
recliner, but
Oh, well, that's okay.
indeed.
There's always
But the
reasons
reclining
things are free.
doesn't work.
You could fix that.
I
You
could,
could
but I
fix
can't
that.
be asked. I don't need it to recline.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
isn't
It
that the
does rock.
problem? You know,
It does rock.
we had a little bit of an issue here toward the end of our vacation. Um, we we're in about a 10-year cycle for replacing all electronics in the house, because you know how the world is now. Everything's made to break.
Yep.
But I had replaced everything in the house except the washing machine, and it struggled on here 12 years, and it just needed replacing. So we went and bought ourselves a nice old shiny Panasonic top of the line, the best of the best. Well, at least the best we needed. Nevertheless, the installers came and says it don't fit, and I was like, "Why don't it fit?" And they're like, "Well, because this tube is too close, and we're worried it might cause damage, and we don't want to do it." So you're telling me you're a lazy ass? So I took a pipe wrench and I turned it, and I said, "Get to fucking doing it." But they
Yeah.
refused because they worried about future consequences. So I could fix it myself. I could, but the way things are with costs and stuff, it would cost me almost as much as it would to have a pro come and do it. And with the pro doing it, one, they're a pro, which I'm not, even though I it's just pipe fittings. But they also have their guarantee. So I got a plumber coming today
A plumber.
to put in an L joint. Fucking, that's the you talk about can't be bothered. Right there is
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the essence of it. Because that's I could do that in my sleep. You know,
Yeah. It's not
uh,
difficult. Pretty
I just
simple.
couldn't
Straightforward.
believe those kids though, the delivery kids. I mean, back in the May, you remember the Maytag Man commercials? You remember those?
Oh, I was the Maytag Manchester, so yes, I
I
do
know,
remember
but
those
the old
commercials.
dude. I mean,
Yeah.
Maytag's like the only commercial I've ever seen where they put out and say that our workers are lazy because Maytag is badass. I mean, the most awesome. Go watch them. You can find them on YouTube. The Maytag Man, right?
Yep.
But I mean, when they show up in the old day, when they show up to your house, it's an actual plumber, and they will
Right.
set up whatever it is you need going on with your piping to get that thing working. They're not going to sit there and awe ya. They're going to get it done. They're not even going to mention it, and out the door they go, right? But these days, my goodness, these people they're not plumbers is the problem.
Yeah. No, there is a serious competence. They're calling it the competency crisis, and that's what happens when you have two generations of parents who refuse to actually raise their children. You
Yeah.
see, they don't actually teach them how to do anything. And because of that, when they become adults, they have no confidence in themselves and they just expect everyone else to fix all of their problems. I have a family member who's like this.
Yeah.
She has all sorts of issues and refuses to actually fix them. She just complains endlessly about them. Well, all
Yeah.
right,
Isn't that interesting?
good luck to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but basically, I'm going to save 70. I could have saved $70. So, do you think the $70 was worth my pride, or is it better just to spend the 70? Because I had to buy the special part, of course. You can't just put a
Yep.
freaking L joint in. It's got to be special connector and stuff. But do you think it was worth the $70 to save my pride and for warranties or to hurt
Yeah.
my pride. Really, it's not a saving it.
Well, that's the
Probably.
thing. So it's like it's kind of like this. Time is the only resource we cannot control,
That's true.
the only one we can't get more of.
I could have found
So
time to put an
yes,
L joint in.
you could do it,
It takes
but
like
in the 20 minutes will be or whatever it would have taken to put it in and get everything all hooked up, you could do something you enjoy instead.
true, and I'm
Was that?
more thinking about the warranty because, of course, I can do it, but I could screw it up. I'm not a professional. When's the last time I did any plumbing? Jesus, decades, right? Well, no,
Right.
no, I did some more recently, but yeah, it's I just was thinking, well, let them do it. They're definitely going to do it correctly. If not, they got to come back
It's
and
only
fix
going to
it.
be $70. Damn,
Well,
that
above and
must be
beyond
nice.
parts, above and beyond parts. Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, you can't even get a plumber to answer the phone for less than $70 in
Well,
America. That's just not going
America's
to happen.
America's overpriced for one,
Yes.
and two, you're in the heat of a ridiculous inflation rate and a recession.
No. See, no. I was told by the media
Hmm.
and the Democrats that
Yeah.
that's all made up.
Oh,
We're all just everybody who's saying that they've spent twice as much on food as they did, 5 years ago. They're all liars. I was reliably informed by Twitter.
yeah.
Yeah, every single person. The thousands and thousands, probably millions at this point, of people on social media and YouTube, TikTok, and all these other places that have said verbatim exactly this. They're all liars. The people who literally posted receipts that they found from 3 or 4 years ago that shows exactly what they paid and then post one of the basically the same exact order. No, one guy did the exact same order because he did it online. So he ordered his groceries online and went and picked them up, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And then he had his receipt from during COVID times of how much that was. He found that if he went to the website, it still had the order saved, and he could put the exact same order in the cart, and it was literally over twice as much for the exact same things
Sure.
from just a few years ago. But I'm told, you see, by these
Hmm.
so-called economists that they're all lying. It's all
Yeah,
made
yeah.
up. It's
You're an
all
idiot.
lies.
You're a fool.
Yeah, you're an asshole and an idiot and a
Yeah, yeah.
fool.
A
How
fool.
dare you lie about this wonderful economy that we're
Yeah,
living in?
yeah, yeah. Well, it is what it is, and but yeah, yeah, don't believe your lying eyes. It's one of those thingies. But it's all right. Just duck and cover. When we were kids, they used to teach us to get under our desks, you see, or go and everyone sit on the floor in the hallway. This will protect you from nuclear bombs. Well, at that time it was atomic bombs, but that's all right. How
what you
things
wait? You mean
evolve.
so a, a few inch thick piece of wood will not, in fact, stop nuclear fire?
I don't think so. No,
Huh?
I think they might have lied. But
No.
there was a lot of that panic going around, and they wanted to calm everybody down.
See, there was a time where you could at least believe, even if it was foolish, you could still believe that these people were sincere, that they were just trying, they're just trying to calm a panic and make sure people didn't overreact and give people a little bit of something to cling on to, so they felt like they had some control.
Hmm.
Okay, maybe. Now, no, no, they're just evil. They're just wicked people.
Hmm.
They're just lying because it makes them look bad, and they want to retain power by any means necessary.
My
And that's
wife,
unfortunately
yeah,
where we're at.
my wife was shocked. She has her best friend. They've been best friends forever. Is from she's a rich girl from Singapore, but they live in Hawaii. They had like a big tourist tour business over there. But whatever. Um, they chit chat all the time. And here you can get a carton of eggs. Here in Japan, it's only 10, not 12. They don't believe in the baker's dozen. But still, it's like a buck something, right? And
Yep.
she was telling her that May was telling her that in Hawaii it's $12. $12 for a carton of eggs, dude. Did you hear me?
Yep, I heard you. Yeah, I don't know what happened in the rest of the country. Egg prices here have not skyrocketed where I'm at in America,
Yeah,
but in
it's really
so
bad.
much of America, that's
It's
that's the
true.
case. It's like I remember a few weeks ago I saw a statistic where I want to say the average price for a carton of eggs was around $9.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. It's insane
I don't
expensive.
know why, because here, like I said, I can go get good eggs. I don't have to go get the cheapo, the ones that come in the little carton. And no, I can go get good ones, come in a nice little plastic carton that are all organic, cage free, and brown.
Hmm.
Good eggs,
Yeah, yeah.
right? For I think the last time it was $6 for a 12
Oh
for a carton.
wow. Well, they do have an egg here in the city over the mountain here. That is very special, super ultra special. It has its own special store where they only sell this egg. It's for a very specific type of food the Japanese eat, which is disgusting. They take raw eggs and crack it into shit and mix it around. Um,
Yeah,
but that egg, a single one, $3.
oof,
Yeah. But it's a
that's
specialty
expensive
item,
egg.
right? Alan's complaining about eggs too. Yeah.
We know what I would like to try is ostrich egg.
Yeah, that might be interesting, or it could be gross.
Scramble up some ostrich eggs. See what that's like.
Maybe. It probably
Yeah.
wouldn't be too different, I'd imagine.
It might not be. Might not, but it'd be a lot. You would think, right? As big as those suckers are.
You would think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How would you measure that? And that's the one thing about eggs, though, because when you get recipes, it's always like, 3 eggs, 6 eggs, or whatever. But it's like, are all eggs equal?
Yeah, that is a good
Whatever.
question.
It is a good
I would say
question.
no, because, like I said, I like to buy the little bit more expensive ones. Because one, they taste better when I cook them, and two, they're a little bit better for you. Not a lot. Not like eggs are terrible for you, regardless, but a little bit
Yeah.
lower calorie, a little bit lower fat and content.
Mhm.
Stuff like that.
Well, if you're an active person, eggs can be quite good. uh,
Yes.
good source of protein. But I'm one of those weird people that I'll get on this kick where I want to make a certain dish, and I'm not going to stop until I've perfected it. Just out of the
Yep.
blue, I don't know why. I'll just get a bug up my ass, and recently it's been lo mein. Right? And
Lo mein.
lo mein, and I will go to the ends of the frickin' earth, and I will find special soy sauces, special sesame sauces, sesame oils, oyster sauces, special noodles. I will go and I'll dig out the best ingredients and I'll work on that shit until it's absolute perfection. I'm almost there.
The autism.
It
You're
is.
strong with this one.
It is.
It's funny because lo mein is what I love lo mein. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
Hmm.
But it's become exceedingly expensive here in America to get it, from a Chinese place or whatever.
Right.
So the wife and I have been seriously contemplating we have to learn how to make all of it ourselves
Oh,
because it's outrageous. We'll
I.
go to get Chinese just for us, and it'll be
Uh-huh.
like almost $40.
Wow,
It's
that's
crazy.
well, I've spent $100 on Chinese food before, but that's
Yep.
very, that's intentional, right? Um, but
Right.
um, but here in Japan, we don't really have the comfort style Chinese food restaurant. Everything here is specialized. It's Japan.
Yep.
But that aside, that's not why I'm learning it. I just get these bugs where I got to make stuff perfect, and I usually succeed. Sometimes I get my ass kicked though. The one that's kicked my ass several times in my life. I've gone back and tried to perfect it, and I've never been able to do it. Frickin' sweet and sour pork, dude. It's a bitch, man. Because no, you go to this place where you got this Chinese man that's been cooking it since he was frickin' 12, right? He's slaving in the kitchen, and it's perfect. And I can't get the crunch. I've tried so
Interesting.
many technique, I just can't. It just pisses me off. But there's been other things that I or my wife has perfected. Um, Her chocolate chip cookies are getting pretty damn badass. Her red velvet cake is to die for. She's more of a baker. Yeah,
She's a bake. That's funny because that's my wife too. She loves to bake.
yeah, yeah. But
Loves.
yeah, yeah, but it's but the lo mein, I'm getting close. We got the noodles and the proper crispiness of the pan fried noodle, right? That's done.
Right.
That's perfect. I got oh dude, I found this badass sesame oil. Um, it's I went and I bought just, they're not necessarily expensive. They are more expensive, but they're very specialized. And I got two and I tasted them both. One is from Korea and the other one is from Japan. And when I tasted them independently, the Japanese one tasted way better, right? But
Yeah.
two problems. Uh, when we cooked with the Japanese one, the one that tastes better, um, the noodles just kept sucking it up. We used half a bottle on it, right? Where the Korean one didn't need as much, which means it's mixed with something, right? And so I came but after it was cooked, the Korean one tasted way better. So the Japanese one is more you put on the salad or you put after the fact is what it is, right? But anyway, I got this great
Right.
sesame. I got a great oyster sauce from China. Um, well, excuse me, Taiwan, the real only, don't buy anything from real China. Go to Taiwan or, stay away from it because everything's poison. Their economy has collapsed so bad that everything is corrupt and diseased now. So really, really stay away from the made in China right now. It's not good. But anyway, I'm not going to keep going on about it, but my the last little bit of ingredient is the soy sauce, because I'm using Japanese soy sauce and it's great for what it does, but it's not great in this application. It's too Japanese soy saucy.
Yep.
That's a technical term.
That's exactly how they measure it.
Yeah,
I'm told.
yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe you know what I mean.
I do. Yeah. I found personally, like, I think I agree with you. The Japanese version of these cuisines has not a much different, but enough of a different flavor to it that I personally prefer the Chinese version. I
Yeah, well,
just,
it's
for whatever
just
reason.
what's the application, right? I mean, the Japanese
Yep.
one is designed for Japanese stuff, and it works great in that. And Japan's a great place to find specialized items, by the way. The Japanese are very much that kind of people. You'll have people you have families that have been making some sauce or some object or something for frickin' centuries, right? And they've mastered it. And the Japanese have that in spades, and it's wonderful. For me, the type of person I am, I love that. America used to have that, and we still have it in certain places. But that's for the most part died in the West. It's all just oh, it's got a scratch on it, buy a new one. You know.
Right.
But here in Japan, they still have that old thinking, so you can get really good specialized stuff. But here, I love lo mein, and Japanese, of course, they are Chinese, right? Don't tell them that. But
Oh,
a couple thousand years ago, I'm not going to go through all of it, right? But they're effectively Chinese, right? But
yeah.
they've been separated long enough that they have other influences here that they're different enough. But of course, anything you find in China, you can find a similar version here in Japan. It's just Japanesey, right? So lo mein version in Japan is called yakisoba, right? They mean the same thing. Grilled
Right.
noodles, griddled noodles. That's what it means. Lo mein, right? Mein means noodle. Lo means to griddle, right? And yaki means to griddle. Soba is a type of
Yaki.
noodle. Yaki means to so yaki soba, yaki niku, yakitori. It's all means grilled something, right? But nevertheless, the difference is the noodles are much thicker in Japan, and they don't do that pan grilling, that nice crisp that the noodle will gain, right? And they also instead it's really weird. Instead of using oyster sauce, which is what lo mein needs, The Japanese use Worcestershire sauce. Weird,
Yep,
huh?
that is weird.
I don't think that's particularly traditional.
No,
Do you know what Worcestershire sauce is?
I know what it is. I don't know what it's made of.
Well, it's fish sauce.
Ew.
Yeah.
Wonder I don't like it. Ugh,
Yeah.
fish. I get that humans have been eating fish since humans,
Hmm.
but nah, I'm good. I'm good
Yeah, I'm
on
not
them.
a big
I've
fish
tried them.
person either. Roger is
Yeah.
asking me how Nick K Nick Guy is doing. I don't know what a Nick Guy is. You're gonna have to help me out. Do you mean Nicolas Cage? Because he's doing great.
I actually just today, Chester, the wife and I watched a Nicolas Cage film, uh, The Sorcerer's Apprentice,
Oh yeah.
from 10 years ago or whatever. And man, did they expect that movie to be a bigger hit than it was. Holy crap. They even gave it a post-credit scene.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, now I remember why I watch. Like for me, I watch most movies only once. I watched the movie and I enjoyed it. The critics hated the
yeah,
hell out of it. I was like, it's all right. What do you want? It's freaking clip out of freaking Fantasia, dude. What is it that you want?
yes. One second.
Oh, I'm sorry. You meant to say the Nikkei. Oh. You dork. Well, thank you very much, Roger. But yeah, no, it's the same thing as all other stock markets. Did you notice the title of the show today? Yeah, the complete and utter breakdown. We're taking a soft open here. This is a soft open.
Soft open.
Soft
Yep.
open. Yeah, it's got to get a little blazing. And on that cue, Roger. Yeah. Well, the world is on fire. So,
The world has indeed decided to descend into madness. That's
uh,
good.
mhm.
Yep.
China has fallen into a very interesting situation. They're basically in the middle of the night opening the dam floodgates and just drowning cities now.
Yeah, I
Um,
noticed that. That's
yeah,
fine, apparently.
no,
That's fine. Yeah.
no
Whatever.
problem. Of course,
Yeah.
they're not doing it because they have to. They're doing it because they want to. Yeah.
Yeah. Just screw them. That's why.
Um, because they have a little bit of a problem. You see, the Chinese government is completely broke, and they can't even pay their police and soldiers. They're having complete, and of course, in a Marxist society, the people you need to keep the happiest are the soldiers because they're the ones who enforce your will, right?
Yep.
In a peaceful society, we can say defund the police, and nothing bad happens. You see. You can't do that over in China. A lot of people have been dying. They're killing them en masse. But she is also basically assassinating any military hierarchy that exists. There are
Excellent.
generals dead. They're missing, disappeared. They're arresting lower caste soldiers. It's just chaos. Chaos.
Chaos, madness, and tomfoolery
Yeah,
is afoot.
it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that Tom was, but stay the hell away from him.
He apparently was trouble.
Yeah. But
Apparently.
so, China, Taiwan is just sitting back laughing at the situation, which of course they are. Hong Kong might actually be able to survive all of this, which would be nice. Southeast
Good.
Asians are like, yeah, whatever. Uh,
It'd be kind of good
Bangladesh,
for that region if China lost its prominence. Um,
it'd be good for
and
China,
uh, well, yes. Um,
mostly.
and in its place, Japan just stayed basically as it is and took over as it should have a long time ago. That
Right.
that whole region, to be honest,
Well,
with
all,
with like Singapore and a couple other major areas, in Hong Kong
Well, they do
being
all
like
work together.
pillars.
So they do work
Yeah,
together
yeah,
against China. So that's that. And then they got India
yeah,
on their side as well. And
yeah.
India is a strange duck because that could go either way. But Modi has been such a good leader. He's done so much to modernize and pull the Indians out of their squalor. I hope he lives longer. I do, because that's a world leader who's actually doing good stuff. They're rare, you know.
He seems, in fact, to like India.
Yeah, but I mean, he's doing things that help India. Most leaders either cause trouble because they're incompetent, or they sit back and hide so that you forget they exist, while they just kind of greedily swindle shit. That's what the
Yep.
average leader does, right? Political leader, because we don't have statesmen anymore. We have
Yep.
politicians, right?
Oh,
Um,
joy.
so, well, it's true, but I mean, so to
Yep.
get someone who actually is trying to better something is great, and Moody's one of those. Britain, wow, shit. I,
Hey, they fell right into communism
well, no,
immediately.
dude, it's not even that. It's like, well, they did, but the people are pushing back, but the government's like, no, we don't like white people. We're going to arrest all of you, and we're gonna take care of our precious Muslims who we love, even though they're running around the street with knives, murdering baby girls. But we love
Yes,
them.
love them.
This is what Britain is. Wowed. Wow, dude. Wow.
I mean, I can't remember what it's called, but it is a very common, well-known tactic by the Muslim to invade a country through soft invasion. Right? They pretend to be refugees. They pretend to be, they're seeking asylum. They need help. They need bada 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 bada. And really, all they're doing is invading the country and have
Anyway,
a plan to
yeah.
slowly take it over. And that's where we're at now.
Oh
They're
yeah.
going to slowly take it over, and
Boy,
now
it
it's just
looks
going to ramp up.
accelerated now. Yeah, it looks
And it's funny
accelerated.
because they're right at about the amount where everybody says is when they take the mask off, which
Seven,
is just on.
5 to 7%.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yep, that's when the mask starts to come off. And if you don't shut them down immediately at that point,
yeah.
you've lost because they're
Uh-huh.
not going to stop.
No.
And like I keep telling people, you do not need a majority. You don't even need a large minority. You need a tireless minority,
Uh-huh.
one that will work together and will never, ever, ever stop. And then you win.
Well,
Every time throughout history, if you want to take something over or change it or whatever, that's how you do it.
look
Always
how
has been.
successful the woke tards are. I mean, look how
Yeah,
successful they've been. They've killed
hyper
everything.
minority of people.
But look
Hyper
at the
minority of
success.
people.
They've destroyed everything you love.
That's right.
Success.
Good
Success.
job.
Yeah, they won. I mean, I don't know what their prize is, but they won.
Well, we'll see if they've won. They've won for now,
Well, they certainly
but
ruined shit for a
yes,
generation or more.
the
So
good news
I won't be
is
around to see it.
these people don't procreate, so that's a plus.
Well, that's good.
Also, humanity. We have a few people who have decided that they are going to side with sanity and civilization against their bullshit. And as we're seeing all over the world, they're being pushed back against very, very
Oh yeah,
hard. So now their only
yeah.
option is to use the state to try and force what they were doing with soft power. Now they're going to try and use just straight power,
Right. No,
just hard
we're
power.
seeing that's where I said wow. We're seeing the iron fist coming down is what we're seeing. Britain is just, I didn't expect Britain to be the front of it though, but it seems it is. Because you're right, we get pushbacks all over the place. We haven't heard much pushback coming out of Canada. A few people. You got Dr. Professor Peterson, of course, is a big voice over there, but and Steven Crowder and a few others. But Canada, in some ways, is even worse. I don't think because it's
Yep.
quiet, and I don't think people realize the absolute gigantic mass of immigration that Canada is just funneling in right now. They're just funneling
Right.
in millions of people. It's going to destroy that country
Yep.
because
Sure is.
it's just like the idiots. Here's a perfect analogy, right? You got a bunch of morons who live in California, and over the decades, in my lifetime, because California used to be awesome, it was cringy as shit, but it was awesome, right? And of course, I think there was a little bit of envy involved in that as well, with the rest of the country. However, In my lifetime, you've had morons come in and absolutely destroy the Golden State, named
Yes.
appropriately, by the way. And therefore, things have gotten so bad they can't afford to live there. They can't survive there because it's dangerous and polluted. So what do? They get up and they leave, and they go to places like Texas is like their most popular destination for some weird reason. So they all go in by who knows what number of them have moved into Texas. Of course, they all go where they're most comfortable. That weird ass place, Austin. And it's got to the point that people are actually suggesting Texas is a purple state. So these
Yep.
morons destroy their own state, don't like it, leave, and then begin the process again,
That's correct. Yes.
right?
It's
This is
why
this, yeah, it's the same thing with
why
the
I say
immigrants.
it. We need to, even intrastate, if we have to pass an amendment to do it, fine. When you move between states, that's fine. You're allowed to do that, but
Sure,
you sacrifice your ability to vote for at least 15 years.
maybe.
Because
Yeah.
if you haven't, if you abandon your state because it was a shithole, why would we want your opinion on how to run the states that aren't?
No, normally in a normal country, this would be a preposterous suggestion you just made. However,
I know it.
America is a republic, a union of states.
That's correct.
And I think people don't understand what that word state means. They
It
think it means prefecture or province, maybe,
no, no,
but
they're
it does
sovereign
not.
states.
Sovereign states, yeah, they're
Yep,
nations,
that's
state,
right.
right?
That's
I
right.
think people have lost the understanding of that word. But in America, you could potentially put a rule like that in place, and it would
Yep.
make sense.
It does, and it goes every direction. So let's say for some reason I had to move to California. God, please don't ever make that the case. But let's say I did, it would apply to me too. I wouldn't be
Sure,
able to do anything
sure,
politically in that manner,
sure.
and I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
I don't see why that's a problem. You can still vote. You would just have to vote where you used to live. Effectively, you have to do like out of state or whatever ballot and handle your business there. You just can't affect local policy to the place that you just moved into
yeah.
because, well, that's just dumb. I don't even think immigrants from other countries should be. I don't care if you're a citizen or not. You shouldn't be allowed to vote.
No,
You get to live here. You get to
how strict my
enjoy
thinking
it.
on voting is. It's way stricter than
Yeah.
you.
Well, yeah.
But
Well, I don't know about that.
no, I think you should have to be 30 years old minimum,
Yeah.
and you have to be married with children. I don't want no single parents. No, screw that. You have to be married and have kids. Otherwise, get the fuck out. You don't get a
Oh,
vote.
that's not farther than me. I go even farther. Not only do you have to be married with children, you have to support those children on your own. No, not a single government subsidy at
Oh
all.
yeah. Let's go back
And
to the landowner thing. The way it was in the
and
19th century.
you have to have at least four, not
Oh
just a
wow.
handful or not just one or two. And the
I
reason
know.
why four is because it's double replacement, and it also means you got a lot
Well, there's
of
not going
skin
to be
in
a
the
lot
game.
of white people voting then.
Well, there's not going to be a lot of anybody voting, Chester. That's the point.
Hmm. That is
It would
true.
also
Uh,
encourage people to have more children.
It
The people who
would,
can,
it would.
do it.
But for these immigrants coming in from the Middle East, Pakistan,
Yep.
Africa and stuff like that, it's very similar from the Californians going to Austin, Texas. But
Correct.
for the immigrants coming into these countries, including our own, it's basically like going to Vegas for them.
Yes.
They get free shit. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas,
Yep.
and they can just act the fool because most of these people are Muslims, right? Most of them.
Right.
And inside Muslim country, this is something you have to understand. They kill each other, sure, but inside the society you live, it's actually pretty law abiding because Sharia law doesn't play games. That's the old eye for an eye shit, right?
Right.
And they can't. They're very oppressed in many ways, including sexually. There's a lot of men in those countries that don't get sex, right, at all.
Right.
So you come to a foreign country, they give you your free shit, they're protecting you, they're putting you up in apartments. None of them are Muslims. Therefore, the Quran says, by God's law, God's word, that you can do whatever you want to them because they're not full humans. So you'll rape them all you want. Go right ahead. They're
Yep.
literally, it's like going to Vegas for these people. And look what's happening. I mean, why are you surprised? But we're starting to get it. It's really coming to a head right now. And of course, the political situation in America is funny because the media, of course, everyone jumped on Kamala's the next thing since sliced bread. And it's like, are you surprised they did this? And then, of
No.
course, these idiots getting on board, trying to sell the unit. And she is a unit because, I mean, she's the same vile, corrupt, moronic whore that she was a month
Literally.
ago.
Yep.
Literally,
That's right.
those are literal things. Come at me, YouTube. I just spoke truth,
That's right.
right?
The
Because
complete
that's what
truth. The
she
truth as
is.
is the truth.
It is the truth.
Yes.
And she's not different. Nothing's changed. Did you hear rumblings from old Biden? I think it's probably Jill. That I'm not out of it. I'm going to be there in September.
I have heard this.
Yeah,
That's curious.
yeah,
We'll see. We don't know. That we have lived through in the last 4 years. We have lived through some very crazy shit
yep,
in this country. And I mean, not what a month ago, the former president of the United States was shot in the head on in national television in front of God
right,
and everybody.
yeah.
Um, and nobody even talks about that anymore. Even he barely talks about it. Nobody
Well,
even really talks about it anymore.
I understand why he doesn't talk about it. I get it.
Yeah, I do
He's
too, but
that
I
type
think
of
he
dude.
should.
Yeah,
I
but
think he should.
I
I
understand
think
Trump, dude. He
he's squandering the biggest
Yeah,
blessing he's ever
I
received in his
know,
life.
but one of the things you love about him is the fact that he's like that though.
Maybe,
See?
but I would
Yeah, it
much rather
is.
love if he wins
You're being very
because
political, and I understand and you're not
yeah,
wrong, but he's not that dude. I get him because he's the man of my generation, right?
yeah,
He's older than me, but we're getting that from grandfathers and our grandfathers, right? The radical shift from 100 my life going back 100 years and the 30 some years of my adulthood, the difference in men is radical, right? I
yep,
mean, I'm not that dissimilar from my father or my grandfather. I'm not that dissimilar. I'm not very different from Trump. I completely understand why he didn't talk about it because it seems impure. I get it. I get it.
yep,
And because he's that dude, he is that dude. He is a bit braggadocious, but I mean that he's a salesman, right? I get it. But he's that kind of dude. But the new male, and I've heard this said, and I thought it was just a silly thing for a while, but it's real. The new male is a different creature.
yep.
They're these vile, scraping at the ground, groveling, disgusting drool piles. Is what they are. Was that descriptive enough? Um,
Yeah,
and of course, this is exactly what the women wanted. They created it and they got what they want. And now they're bitching about it. I do love the irony. Now that's
it's delicious,
irony,
isn't it?
by the way. It is delicious. That's the how you use irony, by the way.
That's right.
Most people say ironic all the time, where no, it's just coincidental or curious or what have you. It's not ironic, but that's ironic. But shit. But yeah, no, it's been a week. It's been a couple of weeks, and you know, wow. I take a vacation. Well, look what happens.
Yeah, no. Going back to the Brits, they're going to, whether they like it or not, they're going to have to get very comfortable with the idea that the Northern Irish were correct, and that what they did was
You
correct.
you mean the Southern Irish that were attacking in Northern Ireland?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
The
what you mean.
IRA.
Yeah,
The IRA was
the
correct.
the Southern, yeah.
They had the right idea. I thought it was North Ireland.
Well, yeah,
Whatever.
that's where it
They had
was
the
all
right idea.
happening. But
Oh yeah. You're right. You're right. It was before I was born. Leave me alone.
I know.
Uh, regardless, They were correct.
Yeah.
And the British government does not care about you,
No.
especially if you're an ethnic Brit, an ethnic English, which, by the way, they're now pretending isn't real. Did you notice that?
Oh
They're
yeah.
saying that there is no ethnicity called English. I literally watched them say that on television
Yeah,
with
I know. Yeah.
a BBC interview. I was like, wow, that's just genocide then. So that's where we're at? We're just at
That's where
genocide
we
now.
are.
All right.
Well, it is kind of interesting. If that's true, let's put our logic on for a second. Let's turn it on for a second. Okay, we'll shut it off
Yep.
quick. Don't you worry. But let's turn our
Don't get
logic on
scared.
here for a second. Yeah, don't get scared. But let's see. What does the word? I'm a master of etymology. It's my superpower.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Eric Hawkins is always mocking me for it. Damn you, Eric.
Well,
Well, anyway,
you
uh,
know.
let's look at the etymology of the word English, shall we? Or England. Do you have any idea where it comes from? Do you know where that
Oh,
word, the root of that word? Well, it's, of course, as with many modern terminologies, a mispronunciation. Like here in Japan, for instance, they don't call themselves Japanese.
right,
They are Nippon. It's not even
right.
close, right? And of course, it's a Dutch mispronunciation. Well, a long time ago, you see, there were these people up in what we call Britain today. Back in the day, it was called Breton with an O, not an A.
Hmm.
And the Bretonish made a lot of pacts and deals with these certain group of people we call today the Romans. You see.
Yep.
And a lot of people think the Romans came and conquered. Not really. There were a few battles. Uh, there was one particular little run of stuff, and it was basically because some stupid lieutenant in charge of a Roman legion decided to beat and rape a chief lady's daughters, and led to problems. But
Excellent.
nevertheless, Boudica, right?
Yep.
But there wasn't much. It was very peaceful because they were trading anyway. Anyway, these Romans came into Britain and they went and built lavish homes and they lavished these people for quite a while. And things went really well. The Romans had a little bit of trouble when they put their foot on that western island. Yeah, crazy ass Irish. And of course, then they went into the highlands and they found that there were monsters lurking there. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So they built a frickin' wall. Walls do work. They
They
do.
seem to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And old Hadrian there, he built a wall from coast to coast. It is impressive if you think about it. There's literally a wall that goes from the east coast of the British Isles to the west coast of the British Isles and keeps those crazy ass Scottish Picts beyond the wall. And they
Yep.
guarded that shit for a frickin' century, right? But nevertheless,
Yep.
Romans had political problems and they were having economic issues, as they always did, and they retreated and they left Britain, the Britannish, to their own
Yes.
devices. Well, as soon as the Romans left, these Scandinavians, who had a lot of bandits amongst them, because there was a lot of environmental issues and all kind of things are going on. But there were a lot of these bandits, and we call them Vikings, you see, and
Yep.
they were causing a lot of trouble. But these Vikings were very useful for the Scandinavian government and the various nations and chiefs and establishments they had over there because they brought news back and treasure, right? And everyone was like, "Oh, the Romans are gone. Yeah, they're kind of a pain in the ass to beat in battle. We can beat them, but it's bloody. But the Britons, it's nothing,
Easy.
easy." So we had waves after waves of Germans thundering into the islands, not just into Britain, but also into northern France. And that would come into play later, right? But two of the most successful ways we had, of course, the Danehold, which still kind of exists today in a way. But there was one, we had the German Saxons, Saxony, right? There's a place in Britain called Saxony, Yeah. But
Hmm.
anyway, those Saxons came over and they took a lot of place. But the ones who were most successful were the Angles. German tribesmen, these Scandinavian type German tribesmen came in, made serious war, took almost all of it. And of course, this is where you get the King Arthur story. The initial Uther story, the later story was adapted for different reasons. But nevertheless,
Right.
so these Angles came in and they took it all. And they named the place Angleland. You see, they have Norland, Ireland, Scotland, you know, Vinland, Finland, Greenland, England. Well, of course, today we say England, and
Right.
English comes from there. So to sit and say, Starmer, assuming, is leading the charge on that, that there's no such thing as English, etymologically, you are a fool.
Yes.
Did you enjoy
It's
story
just
time with Chester?
it was informative.
Hmm.
These people are evil.
Oh yeah,
There's no other word for it. Call evil what it is. It's like I said, we were raised. I don't know about your generation, but mine definitely was raised in an era of insincerity. It's one of the reasons
now
why so many films, suck nowadays. Is because everything's made for an audience of insincere, insufferable douchebags, and they just lap it up.
they
Um,
do.
because of our insincerity or lack of sincerity, we can't take convicted positions unless they're approved by the tribe, the herd.
Yeah,
Well, one of those non-convicted positions, or I'm sorry, convicted positions that you're not supposed to take anymore is to call evil evil.
yeah.
You're not allowed because it makes people feel icky. Well, no,
Interesting
Mr.
trick that.
Starmer, yeah, funny how that works. Mr. Starmer is evil.
Oh yeah, they all are.
He's not misguided. He's not just, oh, he just made some mistakes. No, no. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's doing it on purpose. It is designed to hurt you, English person. He hates you. He hates all of you. He hates the fact that you exist. These people want you gone, and they want you replaced by Muslims. I don't know why, but they do. They've made that abundantly clear. So you're gonna have
Yeah,
to
I
do
don't.
something other than just get a little salty while you're drinking at the pump,
And they
Brits.
are. They are. They're pushing back, and we'll see. Really, if they want to save their country, they're gonna have to stand up harder and in more numbers than they are now. They are pushing
Yes,
back, but dude, you got to take it by the reins and go. You got to
they're
just do it.
going to literally have to force the hand of the king.
Yeah, they will,
That's the only
because
chance they have.
now this is an interesting thing. Keep in mind, even though Elizabeth was a horrible queen, she was
Yes,
horrible. I don't care what you think. Logistically, she was horrible. But
that's right.
the king, Charles, is still, king.
That's
It's
correct.
not like here in Japan, right?
Right.
He can dissolve parliament. Parliament. He has
That's
that
right.
power,
And in
and
fact,
he should.
Lizzie did it twice in her long reign.
Hmm.
Dissolved Parliament. Told them that start over, and they did because they were like the sovereign has that authority.
Yeah, and he needs to get in there and get this done because it's a real problem. Let
Yep.
me just catch up on here before I get into it. Over here in the chat, let's see. Douglas Murray is the only one making sense over there. Yeah, it's interesting, Alan. That is true. Um, Russians are the last men on Earth. Well, they might be. They're the only ones being practical over there. I hear the European countries are going to separate themselves from their union and go back to their original roots. A lot of people want that, to break the European Union, because it was supposed to be a trade union, but it's turned into a tyrannical
Empire.
state. Yeah, an empire.
Yep.
Alan says, "What do you think of the King Arthur film that makes Arthur a legionnaire?" It is one of the theories. Keep in mind, I don't want to get into it so deeply here. I'm sure I've spoken of it before, but there was an old Uther story, a legend that had brewed amongst the people, and it was in response to exactly what I was talking about. The Angles and the Saxons and the Danes and all those invasions that were coming over. And of course much the Normans came later, and the Normans were the Scandinavians that took northern France and then became Frenchy, and then came back into Britain after the fact. But whatever, that didn't have anything to do with this. But that is one of the theories that the Uther story was. It's kind of like Robin Hood. Robin Hood is not a singular person; it's a concept, right? And
Correct.
the
It was a
original
gang,
Uther,
basically.
yeah, it was many people throughout that era of tyranny
Right.
that were pushing back. And Uther represents, I can't think of his name offhand, but it's that southwestern king that fought fairly successfully against the Scandinavian invasions. Uh, but um, but yeah, so that is one of the theories. But keep in mind that the modern Arthurian tales have very little to do with that. They were playing on that idea because it was romantic, right?
Right.
But really, what the Arthurian tales you have today are written by French people. They're not even English. One, two.
Every time.
They were well, it is. The people who were writing it were Templars, right?
Yeah.
And their
Hence the
intention,
Holy Grail.
well, hence the Holy Grail. And it was basically, uh, it's a mix of political things that were going on at the time. The Templars and their discovery of Gnosticism,
Yep.
and not, and they're trying to push that idea, particularly with the Fisher King. But you also had a lot of kind of local folklore was kind of building into that, because now this date is argued, but it was either 536 or 547, so somewhere in that 11-year period. A gigantic freaking asteroid, comet, or space rock, just call it a space rock, flew over Europe, smashed into southern Africa. Now, we're still getting a lot of that really good, juicy platinum out of that strike, because a lot of the platinum we get comes from, space rock strikes. I didn't know
Right.
if you know that. But
Space metal. Yep.
Yeah, it was space metal. But That was bad. That was bad. It affected the entire planet. Literally, trees didn't grow for a decade on the planet. That's how bad it
Yep.
was. It was really, really bad. And of course, just like Santorini popping off 3,000 years ago, like, there's many examples I can make. It reset society. It reset the planet. And when the old fails and dies, like in the Santorini one, it was basically the death of the Egyptians and or the Cometians and the Persians, right?
Right.
But it let open the door for something else, which brought us the Greeks and Romans. And of course, with the space rock that hit South Africa, that got rid of the Romans, and let the door open for the Europeans and many other peoples to start rising up. In many places, it's why Japan exists, for example. It's why all those Western Native Americans exist in America. They were fleeing the disaster, looking for better lands. All It was a big deal, is my point. And of course, a lot of mysticism and folklore, and you know how people are.
Yep.
So the Arthurian stories really are a mix of things, but a heavy dose of it, especially when you get into Gawain, which seems to be people's favorite part of the Arthurian stories. But the Gawain part of the story is all about that space rock, right? So
Yep.
the Arthurian stories, you can't pin it as one thing or another. But the stories, the romance of the idea of someone fighting against the greater enemy. And like I said, I can't remember his Eggleston, or I can't remember his name. Damn it! But it's probably who the idea of it's coming from. But it's just the idea of fighting against invaders, right? But that is
Right.
one of the ideas, that he was actually initially a legionnaire, an actual super high level. What's the high level ones called? Centurion.
Yes.
Because those are the top ones. Those are like captains, majors, right? The centurions are top, 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 top.
Right.
You could take a centurion, drop him anywhere with a legion, and he'll get it done, right? But
Yeah.
anyway, so
Anyway,
good question though. It is a good question. Might Ella says King Charles might be the beast. I wouldn't hold my breath. Well, yeah, no, that maybe. Anyway, let's get into what I got today though, because there was a great segue. It was kind of like a
segueing.
perfect segue.
He's segueing everybody. Deadpool and Wolverine. Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman. Ryan Reynolds, and you can use Ant. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Thank fans in heartfelt video
Yeah, it's like we're expecting another
or
name
heartfelt.
after that.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, what? That's why it confused me. Just
Yeah,
use Ant, guys. You're a lot. You
that's
used it
not
once already.
people.
I
Didn't
don't.
you go to school? But anyway, excuse me. The segue is Thundero said sincerity. And I'm going to show
That's
you
right.
some examples of lack of sincerity today because he's making
Oh,
a good point. But this is a still surviving spark of sincerity. How
yes.
hard is this? You have a big successful
Apparently,
movie. You had a lot of
difficult
fun
to tell.
making it. Everyone had a great time. We didn't get a single leak with all the damn cameos in that. Because the thing is, when you start getting leaks, it shows you that there is trouble in the water, right? Like
Yep.
for a long time, from Paramount into the early Disney years, the Marvel movies, we didn't get a single leak, not one. And then all of a sudden it
Right.
was leaking like a sieve. It's because the people working weren't happy with what was happening. You didn't have any of that. There's so many damn cameos in this movie, and you didn't hear about one of them, right? And it's because
Right.
everyone had a great old time. So not only are they happy with their movie, happy with the experience, they're happy with the success. And you know what they did?
Uh oh.
This article talks about, various things, and you go read it if you like, but this is not why I'm here. This is why I'm here.
This, in fact, is why he's here. They said thank you. Wow.
Oh, wow. You're not going to click on me now? All right, fine. Maybe it wasn't
Wow.
clickable. Anyway, I did see the video earlier. You know what all these people did? They said thank you.
Well,
How
that's
simple.
not allowed.
How simple is
It's not
that?
allowed.
Thank
Not
you.
allowed in the year 2024.
Thank you to the people. Thank you for watching our movie. Thank you for the support. We love you all. How hard is that? That used to be the mantra of Hollywood. What the
Right.
frick happened, dude?
Communists.
I guess. But they've been
See,
around.
the communists, they used to just be in Hollywood, and they were annoying, and people ignored them. And well, sometimes we didn't ignore them, but you know what I mean. They weren't really in control. Now it seems like there's a lot more communist or communist-like people in positions of authority or in positions of marketing, if you will, in these places because this entitlement, this idea that audiences should just be grateful to you for making X, Y, or Z thing is coming from the top in a lot of these studios, and we're
Yeah,
starting to
that's
see
true.
it. We've been seeing it with our boys like Reynolds, Jackman, and Tom Cruise. Some of these older movie stars who've been out there forever, right? Been grinding for decades. They don't play that game, and they never have. You can Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, and Tom Cruise. Largely, you don't. I've never heard of a story where they showed great ingratitude towards their fans.
No, no, they're
Um,
quite the opposite. Yeah.
yeah, they understand it. Is what I'm saying. They
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
game. The job here of the movie star, of an actual movie star, is to make you want to come see him in
Yeah.
any movie.
To be loved. To be loved.
Yes,
That's the
to be
point. To
adored.
be adored.
To be, the
Uh
word is literally celebrity. Sounds an
yeah.
awful lot like celebrate,
Well,
doesn't
it's
it?
odd that the root is in
Yeah,
there. How did it get
yeah.
there?
Who
But
did this?
who did that? But but yeah, I mean, it's the simplest common sense thing. And with these guys, you actually believe it though. You really
Yes,
you feel when they speak, especially like Hugh and Ryan here, that they really are appreciative. They're like, dude, we put a lot of our heart in this. You guys loved it. Thank you. We love you for it. And
right.
it feels genuine because I think it is, right?
I do too.
And it's there's no politic involved. It's just the love of movies, which is something we've been lacking, right? Um,
Sorely.
sorely. I mean, think about what's come out this year and what has hit. Not much, right? A couple of kid movies, fair enough, right? Parents want to get out of the damn house and take the kids out. The kids love it, and they were made
Right.
for the kids, so awesome. But we haven't had much for us, right? And think about just this past since I've been gone. Borderlands dropped, absolute disaster.
Boy, did it ever.
Absolute disaster. Who I mean,
Yeah.
you got Kate Blanchett, who's a pretty solid actress. Let's be fair, right?
Yeah.
You got
Horribly miscast, but yes.
horribly miscast. You get the micro midget Kevin Hart, who desperately wants to be a person that he's not. And that is Eddie Murphy. He's not Eddie Murphy, but he wants to be.
Yeah.
And whatever, he's mediocre at best. But I don't. I'm not against the hustle though, right? And then
Yeah.
Jamie Lee frickin' heart on her sleeve, Curtis, right? I actually was watching the Red Letter Media review of Borderlands. And I heard a word. I had to take a second to figure out what it meant. And I'm always behind on these sex terms. Damn it.
Uh-oh.
I had to, years ago, but I had to ask someone, what is a MILF? I had to ask. I didn't understand it was an anagram. I thought it was some new hip word. It's just
Oh
an
no.
anagram. And
Oh no.
well, it's true. But I heard I heard Ryan over there on Red Letter Media said that he thinks Eli Roth, who I've enjoyed several of his movies, by the way, but
Yep.
Eli Roth, who made that pile of shit, or no, was that no, yeah, Eli Roth, that he must be a gilf, and I was like, oh god,
Oh.
a new word. What does that mean? It sounds like MILF. Gilf, MILF. Oh, grandma. Oh. Yeah, it's the
Oh no.
instead of mother, it's grandmother. I figured it out. I, fi-
You figured it out all right.
I figured it out. Because what the hell kind of movie are you making, dude? Goodness gracious, what a bomb. Lame is the word every reviewer I watched about Borderlands. That was the word they had. Lame. Lame. And of course, I didn't put that up because it's kind of just when I left, but there are a few other things I want to talk about here, but I'll go ahead and just jump right to this one, and I'll come back to these. But another one that came out whilst I was gone, which has got pretty solid reviews, but once again, every reviewer that I trust, right, that I go and watch, it's an absolute shit show. Alien Romulus.
Yep.
The first 30
Yep.
minutes is stellar. Stellar. And this is the same guy who did the new Evil Dead movie.
Right.
Federez or whatever his name is. I mean, they probably got it written here. But yeah, first 30 minutes is Fendi Alvarez. Sorry, I was close. There was an F in there, I knew. But first 30 minutes, spectacular. It could have been fun. Finally, we get something different, but nope. Fan fiction all over again. These damn people, please kill this. No more alien movies. Stop it. Stop it. No, because they can't get their brain away from the fact we need Ripley. It's the only cool feminist female that we have. Every time we say there's no action ladies, they always say Ripley. We need her. That's what it is, right? That's what it's got to be, right? Cuz every damn movie has got the new wannabe Ripley. And it's like,
Yep.
fuck off, dude. There's so much shit you could do with this series. Keep in mind, they tied it in with Utani. They tied it into the freaking Blade Runner movies, dude. Do
Yep.
something with that. The last time we saw anything fun with the aliens, fun, right? Was frickin' Alien versus Predator, that heap. But at least it was fun. At least there was something different going on with the aliens. No, no, we've got to have a Ripley, right? And this
Right.
ratings are pretty high, but all the reviewers I've seen is like it's an absolute shit show, absolute crap. 30 minutes, spectacular. It could have been something, and that pissed them off more than anything. Because the first 30 minutes, they were like, "Oh my god, am I getting a good alien movies? Oh my god!" And then, yeah. So, yeah, it's been a week.
Oh, it's been something. It's been something, all right. Yeah, the world has decided to go into meltdown. Seems like
It
Chester.
has.
They've all just decided all at once that they no longer, you know, want to function normally, and have just been. Oh man, it's been crazy. I did look up while you were talking about old Deadpool and Wolverine. Looks like it's at just about 1.15
Mhm.
billion, which is pretty good.
Well, it
Pretty good
means
for an
they've made
R-rated movie.
half a billion dollars on it. They've certainly
Yep.
made their money back, right?
Yep.
Which means everything after this is most absolutely gravy.
Yep.
So all the Blu-ray sales, all of the Netflix deals, all those things that come after, this is just pure gravy. And good for them. And good for them just simply showing a little bit of sincerity along the way because that's what we're kind of talking about here is
Yeah.
insincerity,
Yeah.
right? Not only politically, around the world, the insincerity is insane, but here with this movie, it's just insincere. You had this Fendi Alvarez who had an idea, right? And it sounds like it was a great idea. But
Yeah.
then as he's going along with his idea, the suits came in from Disney and were like, "Oh, hold on a second. We need this scene. We need the member berries." And they ruined it, right? Because there's no sincerity in this movie whatsoever. None. It's all member berry nonsense. It's just rinse and repeat. Do you remember that? Oh my goodness. Look, that android who has no connection to anything in the movie whatsoever. It's not even the same android. Looks like the one from the first movie. Oh my God, did you see it?
Everybody loves the Android, right?
It's so dumb, dude.
Right?
It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
It's a shame too, because this Fendi Alvarez guy, he's I saw that Evil Dead Rise, right? And
Yep.
it's low budget. I know Bruce Campbell was involved in the production and funding of it. It was shot in New Zealand, I think, or Australia. Definitely the trees, because I can usually tell real quick where a place is by the trees. Isn't that weird?
Mm.
But anyway, but it was shot down there, and of course the accents, them trying to speak American, you know. But I still think that, especially because he was involved in the production, Bruce should have showed up at the elevator scene. It would have been badass, and we should have had the no, we should have had frickin' ACDC or frickin' Ozzy going at that moment as well. But whatever, it's all about the ladies. But horror movies often are about the women anyway, the final girl, right? Uh, but
Right.
it was interesting. It was low budget, but I could see the quality of the dude, right?
Right.
And it sounds like like I said, the critics I watch are real critics, not like me, morons who have opinions. Um, but they all had the same thing. They liked the vision of this guy. He's got some quality, but for him to be able to worm himself into a position to be able to actually express himself with some money behind him is going to be difficult because this should have had some go. This is a very expensive movie, and of course, it's even though the critics loved it because they probably the red letter meters suggested they probably just watched the first 30 minutes and then went to their next movie, right? They didn't watch the
Right.
whole thing because the first 30 minutes of this movie are spectacular. And if they had continued the story that Alvarez had, it would have been we would be talking praising this movie. But that's not what happened. Nevertheless, we don't really need the critic opinion because we can come over here Sorry, here, and we can take a look. And yeah, that's not
Hang on.
great, dude.
It's not
They
exactly what we're looking for, is it?
they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on this. I guarantee it. Right? Hundreds of
Yeah.
millions. This could be a $500 million movie easily with commercialism. Because I've seen a lot of TV nonsense about alien Romulus over here in Japan. That costs money, dude. Right? It costs
Right.
money. And they're only sitting on 50 million in their pocket after their opening weekend. It only goes down from here, buddy.
Yeah, it's not good. It's
It's a
not the situation you want.
So I don't really care what the critics say. The ones I listen to have an opinion, and they think like I do. So that's what's
Well, the
important.
real critics, the ones that matter, have spoken, and that's the audience.
Yeah, yeah, the
And
audience.
not
That's my point. The audience has spoken right here. Yeah, not interested. And yeah, it's just lack of sincerity. This Fede Alvarez guy, he's got a thing, man. The guy's got a vision. He's a little bit like an Eli Roth can be, even though he was a producer on this, or maybe even a director. I think he was just a producer on this frickin' Borderlands. Or who's that other guy? Eggers there. What's his name? The guy that made The Witch and the Viking and
um,
the Northman. Sorry,
is it
Eggers.
Ralph
Something
Eggers? What's his
something
first name?
Eggers. They got a quality. They got something. They got something. This Fede Alvarez guy, he's got something. So hopefully he'll be able to work himself around this because this is going to be a big bomb. Now Disney's going to do everything they can to hide it, and they'll
Robert.
do what they'll do with it. Robert Eggers, that's what it is. His
That's it.
did you see the trailer for? We watched the trailer for Nosferatu, dude. Oh my God,
Yep.
with that
That's
guy,
yep.
with his vision, his feel. Hmm. But
Sad thing is, it's still not going to make any money. That's
No,
the thing
but that's
holding
the
him back. Is
problem.
his
Yeah,
movies aren't making money. They're
they're
not
not.
drawing.
No, because well, it is a bit of a actual auteur, right? Which is why
Yeah.
William Dafoe is with him, because that's what
Right.
William Dafoe is, especially at this stage of his life. He's like, fuck it, it's auteur or nothing. You know. But whatever. I was going to mention this later, but your sincerity mark kind of tied everything together. Uh, but
Yep.
uh, but yeah, sincerity at the beginning, insincerity at the end, and of course everything in between. It's just nonsense. But
It is.
it is, and this all happened whilst I was gone. So I blame my wife.
It makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did have some good food though.
What'd you eat?
Well, up in that city, and this is way to the north in Fukuoka, uh, mainly what they eat is ramen and yakitori, and that's about it. It's like a diet of tapas, which I'm here for.
Interesting.
I think if I lived there, I would probably die. Um, Probably, because
Maybe.
I don't eat properly anyway, right? I just don't eat much, right? Like even this past week, I was with my wife, and the only time I ate was when I was dragged to a restaurant. Because I'll sit all day and I'll eat like once a day. You know, I
Right.
just don't eat. I just don't eat very often. If I lived up there, though, I'd gain weight for sure. My salt content would go through the roof. Um, yeah, but whatever. But there was some good eats. It's the best food city in Japan, so that's kind of handy that my kids live there. You know,
Uh oh.
I was thinking about building a house up there.
Chester's gonna get up to 300 pounds. Watch. He's gonna move
No,
up there. He's gonna do nothing.
no,
He's gonna
no.
get a big old gun on him.
No, it ain't happening. Ain't happening. But anyway, let's go back here and talk about a mix of things here. Let's go back, and we'll come back to Rotten Tomatoes in a minute, and the box office mojo as we usually do. Now, go ahead.
Garth Ennis's Crossed. The adaptation happened.
Now, I'm a Garth Ennis fan. He's a British guy. He's part of the British invasion. He came into comic books. Now, he's most famous for Preacher and The Boys, right? That's what he's most famous for, although he's done some other things. But that's his big thing. Now, do you know? Did you read The Boys or did you read Preacher, the comic book?
I did not.
Okay. Um, the Boys is, as far as a standalone, beginning, middle, and end 3-act story, even though it covers nearly 100 books, 60, 70 books, whatever it is. It's my favorite compact story. It's in comic books. The Boys. It's great,
Right.
right? Now I enjoy other things, but Spider-Man is, for instance, or Superman is not that, right? There is no middle or end or beginning. It's just this constant slog, really, right?
Yeah.
But Garth Ennis doesn't really do that. He tells stories, right? And therefore, you have a 3-act system, and that's what he follows. The Boys is my favorite. I love The Boys. I've read the whole thing. I've read all the extra stuff. I've even read it twice, which is rare for me to do that. But it's great. I love it. Preacher, I didn't read all of it. I read some of it. It wasn't really my shtick, but the quality of Garth Ennis is there. Now, did you watch the Preacher TV show? I watched the season or three.
I did not.
Yeah, it was all right. It's interesting. It's an interesting take on that whole idea. Now, of course, The Boys. I've read the entire thing. I watched season one and noped right out of it.
Nope. Right on out.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the right decision. You were correct in that assessment. Season two
Yeah, I don't
quickly
even want to.
became a dumpster fire,
Don't even bring
and
it
I
up.
haven't seen anything past
Yeah.
season two.
It's nonsense. Because I mean, one of the best graphic novel stories of all time, not just my opinion, right? All time,
Yeah.
it's always on the top 10 list. The Boys, right? And all you had to do was follow the frickin' script was written for you. But no,
No,
no, we
Chester,
have
you
to
don't
rewrite it.
understand. They
Adaptation.
know better.
Yeah,
They know better than you. They know better than the original creators. They know better than the audience. They know better than common sense. They know better than every person who's ever written anything successfully. They know better than everybody, you
they do.
bigot, racist bastard.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Well, the crossed storyline, Preacher, The Boys, Crossed. I read some of it when it first came out, Garth Ennis, so of course I picked it and read it. I didn't finish. I didn't complete reading it. Continue reading it. Sorry, because it's not my shtick. Just like with Preacher, I do like. He's a good writer. I like his storytelling. He had a very interesting artist for this particular one. Each of his things he's working with the art is interesting. However, this is being adapted into a TV series as well. Preacher was somewhat
Interesting.
successful. The Boys has had mixed reviews, but I think it's actually made some money for them, right? Because the normie doesn't know, right?
Or care.
Or
Yeah.
care. But I noped out of this one for a very specific reason. Um, there's a series, a horror, is it a horror? Psychological thriller series that's been going on for a while. It's called Black Mirror. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
it?
I have not.
Yeah.
I have heard of it
Don't watch it. I hate it with a passion. I
though.
despise it. I despise it. So much so that my wife and kids years ago were going to turn it on. I said, "You fucking shut that off right now." I usually don't. I usually don't interact with my family in such a way. I let them do what they want until they're about to step in the frickin' pit, right?
Right.
But that they were about to step in the pit, and that's why I said no, shut it off. Um, the reason I hate Black Beer, and I hate it, I despise it, is because there's no hope,
Yeah.
right? It's the same reason I stopped watching The Walking Dead at season 4, I think it was,
Right.
because there's no hope. Why would I want to waste my time watching something that is hopeless, right?
I don't personally understand it either. Some people seem to love misery. They
It's
love it.
weird. I
and
mean,
they want to ingest it as if it's narcotics right into their veins.
well, let's take Child's Play or any of the famous horror runs, right? Any of them. But let's go with Chucky. Why not? Um, now,
Old Chuck.
old Chuck. Now, it can be scary. It can be. It's usually comically scary, but that's the point.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun. Fun.
Fun with a capital F.
Yes,
Fun.
fun.
Yeah.
But these things like The Walking Dead and Black Mirror particularly, they're not fun, dude. They're
No.
hopeless nonsense. This thing by Garth Ennis is the extremity of that. I don't know that I can express strongly enough. Don't read this book. I like Garth Ennis. I'm a fan. The Boys, like I said, my favorite thing. The Preacher, I wasn't my thing, but I recognize the quality, and I saw the quality in this too. But this is about how depraved humanity can get. That's what this book's
Yeah.
about. That's the whole point. And nope. Mm-mm.
No thanks, he says. He says, not
No,
for me.
thank you. No,
No
thank you.
thank you, sir.
It is dark and disgusting. I don't think I've ever seen anything this hardcore in my life. Now, some people that might be tantalizing or even titillating.
Uh-oh. Not titillating.
However, for me, no. Hard no. Hard no. I don't care. But I saw this and I had to mention because I have read a few of these books. And I get why they're adapting it. He's had success. But this is bad. It's hopeless nonsense. Even the thing says The Walking Dead meets Contagion. What? No. God,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Nothing. Yeah.
it's also terrible because the reason why things like The Walking Dead were successful when they were, especially the television show, is because it was novel.
Yeah.
The brutality and
Yeah.
the
Great
the
zombies.
hyper violence, yeah, and all of that stuff was something that didn't exist on American television at ever before that. I mean, it was way over the top comparatively. Unlike Game of Thrones, that was very very well written, which Walking Dead wasn't terribly written. It was okay. It was more that, and
Yeah.
that's why like season two, most people hated season two. You know why? Because there was barely any zombies in it. There's barely any real violence in it like that,
Yeah.
comparatively to the later seasons, especially. And then they had a few characters that people had actually glommed onto that ended up getting got because they're supposed to in the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unlike a comic book, a TV show without its people that the other people love. The stars, the celebrities,
Glenn.
Chester, remember? Yeah.
They
Once they
killed
killed
Glenn.
off old Glenny Boo, which, by the way, was the right call if you're going to stick to the story, because
Sure.
that's
Sure.
what happened.
Yeah.
Um, that was kind of it. It lost its momentum and it never really regained it. I know it's still out there, and they have a whole bunch of spin-offs and stuff now and all this, and that's all well and good. And they're still apparently making a bunch of money, and great for them. But
Yeah.
as far as what it was, The Walking Dead
Yeah.
at one time was the most popular television show in America,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
besides football, of course, American football. Uh, that's crazy when you think about it, and it just completely fell off after the Glenn thing. Plus, the way they did it was real scuzzy, real
It
shitty with
was.
the cliffhanger ending that was unnecessary. Uh, yeah, there was a lot wrong with how they went about the old Glenn reveal.
Right.
But the fact that they did it sucks for a normal TV viewer because normal TV viewers are normal TV viewers. There's a reason tropes exist. There's a
Hmm.
reason you don't kill off your beloved characters in TV shows unless you have to,
Yeah.
because it kills the show.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's what happened. It
Hmm.
killed the momentum that show had. And then the main character left because he's British and was tired of coming to Atlanta to film it. So he left to go be with his family more, basically. That's why one of the main reasons he left the show. Um, Now that his family's a little bit older, I guess he's more comfortable coming back, but they were real little kids at the time, I guess. So regardless, it's there's a lot of reasons why that show was successful. There's a lot of reasons why the hopelessness and the despair and all that were successful. But most of it had to do with the fact that it was novel. It was so new. This level of brutality was something that you didn't see on American television, and yet here it was in all of its glory, and it was still funny to me. All of that brutality, all that hyper violence, all that was fine, but you weren't allowed to say fuck.
Yeah, it's
That wasn't
weird,
allowed,
right?
at least at
It's
first.
weird. It's
Eventually,
weird.
that was fine, but at first, they weren't allowed to say
Yeah.
fuck.
Dave is late, by the way. I'll never forgive
Oh,
you, Dave.
oh no,
Oh no.
oh no.
Oh no. But anyway, yeah, no, it's my wife does like it. She continues watching it, but women are more into misery porn than men anyway.
Yeah,
It is. But I'm not going to suggest or be happy about this at all because with the modern tone in filmmaking, uh,
yeah,
this is going to be a freaking smorgasbord for the assholes. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I no, no. Let's go on to something funnier. Because you want to laugh? Here's a laugh.
Uh oh, here we go. He-Man movie. Camila Mendez cast as Tila.
Mhm.
Oh lord.
They had such an absolute atrocious bomb from Kevin Smith's He-Man, or excuse me, let's call it what it is, Tila,
Yeah.
Master of the Universe, that they've decided they're going to have themselves a live action.
What could possibly go wrong?
Failure gets promotion. And this, whoever this girl is, I have no clue who she is whatsoever. Don't really care. She might be a good actress for all I know. But I don't need to see Tila, Master of the Universe. I don't. I have no interest in it. And what is this little narrow boy going to be playing frickin' her He-Man? I mean, what? Look at it.
Yeah, no, that's it's what I was literally just doing on my other screen here, being like, wait a minute, this guy? Nothing about him is He-Man. Nothing about him. He doesn't look like He-Man.
Are
I
they
mean,
going to
he's blonde, I
CG
guess.
He-Man in the frickin' movie? Is that what they were going to
Is he gonna
do?
be like the Hulk? He's gonna Hulk out like He-Man?
Well, he
Like
didn't in the cartoon he didn't do that. He's still a big buff boy. Ola was his name Arthur? Or,
yeah, I believe his name's Arthur. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be somebody out there who is a younger man, like mid 20s, late 20s, who's jacked and blonde, who can be He-Man. We don't need a great actor here, guys. We're not telling the greatest of
Well,
stories. We're
Dolph
not out here producing Citizen Kane, He-Man.
Lundgren
We
did
just
it.
need we need some. Well, yes, but he's an Ubermensch, literally in every
Literally,
sense of
in
that
every
word.
sense of the word. That's unfortunate. They didn't have money to do what they should have done with that movie. It's unfortunate.
Yes,
But
but there's got to be somebody out there who physically can play the role. We don't need He-Man has to be jacked, not just in good shape, not with a little bit of muscle. Not no. He needs to be straight up 1980s movie star jacked.
No, he
That's
needs
what
to
he
be
needs to
Arnold
be.
Schwarzenegger is what he needs to be.
Yeah,
Prince Adam, thank you very much, Maple Chic. Adam, yeah. Adam in the cartoon was ripped as hell. They didn't look any different whatsoever. It's worse
yep,
than the Clark Kent Kal-El situation because at least Clark had glasses, right? But
yep,
Adam and He-Man, not only exactly the same size, exactly the same haircut, exactly the same, they're exactly the same.
that's right.
So yeah. Now this girl to play Tila, because it's going to be the Tila show. So this is your star. She's
That's
fine.
right.
She's a little hottie. I don't know, whatever. She looks fine to me to play Tila. But let's see the boy here. No, that's you again. Well, I don't want you again. I want. No. Okay. So we're just giving love to this girl. All right. Fine.
I just need to know how it's not Zac Efron playing He-Man. He's
Yeah, he jacked
perfect.
himself up for it. Now that's a fair point. It's a fair enough point. Is this the one that's got the boy? Or is it more? No, it's just more love for you. All right, more love for you. We don't get the boy. Maybe this is the boy. No, it looks like more girl. Yeah, okay. All right. The titless wonder. All right, fine. Fine.
No boobs for you.
No, let me see the last one. Is this? No, we just want the girl because they know that they know right well it's going to be the Tila show. Therefore, we don't need anything other than this dowdy, you know, why am I here guy. It's just stupid. No one's got to go see this nonsense. Kevin Hart killed the franchise, as was his job.
I
So,
think you mean Kevin Smith, but yes.
well, either way,
Yeah, no. I don't think anybody's interested anymore.
no.
This is one of those things that they could have done a decade ago, and people would have been pretty excited for. But now, after all the bullshit we've seen them do, especially now, no one's interested. Just leave it alone. Like
Yeah.
I've always wanted a Thundercats movie. No,
Hmm.
thank you. No, thank you,
No, no,
guys.
not
Please
these
don't.
days. Yeah.
No,
So,
please don't.
yeah, whatever. Why are we getting this? Why does this even exist? They absolutely bombed, huge bomb with all the He-Man stuff they've done. They bombed, but yet we're getting a live action. Alrighty,
Yep.
alrighty then. Let's go to the new Batman that is super woke.
Bruce Timm gender swapped Penguin because Batman lacks good villains.
Read that again with a little bit of enthusiasm, please.
I can't because it doesn't. There's no punctuation at all.
There, let me correct the grammar, shall I? Bruce Timm gender swapped Penguin because Batman lacks good villains.
That's right.
That's as any wokey would say in that tone. Where when I saw, I put this up because we all know what's going on with this if you're paying attention whatsoever, right? This is ultra woke Batman. Don't watch it, right? Which is rare. Usually the animated stuff they kind of leave it be for the most part. We have Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, lesbian thingy, but in general they kind of leave it alone. So this one is just in your face, woke, right? However, the headline demanded that I speak about it because Brucey, my boy, I don't know who you are. Do you know what a Bruce Tim looks like? Do you know Bruce Tim? I don't know Bruce Tim. But
Do not.
Brucey, you've never read a comic in your life, boy. Never.
He looks exactly how you would expect.
Let me go find it here.
Oh no!
Oh my. Oh my. Oh
Exactly like
my.
you'd expect.
Oh my.
We got to quit giving that name Bruce out. We're gonna have to start registering
Yeah, I
Bruces
know.
because
You gotta earn that shit. Oh
yeah.
my god, dude. Bruce, let me talk to
Consider
you.
this: in this world, there's a man known as Bruce Willis
Yeah,
who exists,
yeah, yeah.
and he exemplifies the
Bruce
name
Campbell,
Bruce.
the chin
Bruce
himself.
Campbell, the
Yeah.
chin, the living chin, and
Bruce
then Bruce
Lee.
Timm. For crying out loud, Bruce Lee, the greatest of all time, and then Bruce Timm.
Bruce Tim.
It
Yeah,
doesn't work. It does no,
yeah.
no,
And
no.
and
We got
and
to start.
besides,
No,
has no one told you not to wear that kind of shirt when getting your photograph taken? Huh?
that's
Did
right.
your mama not teach you right, boy? Hmm?
Apparently,
But here's the thing, and those hair extensions aren't working for you, buddy. But Batman with say Spider-Man next to him, but Batman being first, is known, literally known for his rogues gallery.
correct,
Famously so.
correct.
But yet he gender swapped Penguin into a female because Batman lacks good villains. Is it
I don't
not
see what.
one of the most idiotic statements you've heard this year? And then that's all
It's up there.
that's stiff competition going on. Because
It's made the list.
we hear morons speak all the time, Thundero. But my goodness, dude, the Batman villains are more famous than Batman.
Yep, I would say so. I think there's two villains in all of comic books that are at the top of the villain mountain, and
Right?
one of them is Joker.
Absolutely.
Um, and what I mean by the top of the villain mountain, I mean the actual one, the one where money's drawn.
Yeah, yeah.
Joker and Venom are the two biggest draws when it comes to villains, and it's not close. It's still not close to this day. So, um, I would say, which is funny because, like you just said, Batman and Spider Man. I would say that this gentleman is a retard, a
He
big
is
old
a
retard.
retard. He's one of
Yeah,
the retards. But no, let's just talk a little bit about the Rogues Gallery here,
yeah.
our old boy, right? Uh, how about I don't know, Bane? You know, a little bit famous. Catwoman, Harley Quinn,
Yeah.
Clayface, Penguin, of course. The Joker. How about Killer Croc? How about Mad Hatter, Poison Ivy, Ra's al Ghul, the Riddler, Scarecrow, Man Bat, Mister Freeze, Two Face. Let's see here. Black Mask. We have Zaz, Lady Shiva, of course, is another one. Deadshot, another big one. Firefly shows up every now and then.
Good old
Hush,
Firefly.
hush.
Hush. Some people hate Hush though, real
Yeah,
bad.
I'm not a big fan either because it was just forced. Calendar Man, goofy, but awesome,
Calendar Man might be the greatest comic book villain of all time, simply because he could only happen in a comic book.
right?
It's such a ridiculous premise, but yeah,
But you even go deeper. You got Catman, which I always enjoyed when he showed up. Bronze Tiger, of course. You got I don't know, Doctor. What's his Doctor? What's the crazy doctor? But he's kind of in Superman a lot too. But
yeah.
You get Copperhead. There's another one. You got Jeremy
Did you
Arkham, of
mention?
course.
Did you say? You said a lot there. I might have missed it. Did you say Deathstroke?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
KG Beast, of course, is another one that comes to my head. Professor Milo. He was always interesting.
Did you
Um,
mention my boy Solomon Grundy?
no, but he's a bit of a crossover, isn't he? Of course, you got
Yeah.
Catcher, you got Tweedledee Tweedledum, which I always were
Born on a
appreciative of.
Monday.
Born
Solomon
on a
Grundy.
Monday. Of course, crossover stuff like you just mentioned, Solomon Grundy for sure, but you also got like Cheetah coming from Wonder
Yep.
Woman, Count Vertigo, of course. No, I did. Maybe I didn't mention Deathstroke. I mentioned Deadshot.
You
But
did.
of course, Deathstroke. That's true. You
Yep.
got Starro, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah. Who will never, ever, ever get proper respect he deserves. That's just
No.
not going to happen. Not,
Um,
not outside of.
I mean this comedically. Batmite, the Court of Owls with talent and stuff like that.
And
Um,
his greatest villain of all, women, Batman,
yeah,
because he is.
yeah,
Oh boy, does he have some troubles with women.
he does. He does. I could even throw into his rogues gallery. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Superman.
Yeah, yeah. He's the only one who has the best. He's got the best record against Soups. Old Bat does. Old Batty does.
He does. But Hugo Strange. Thank you very much, Ellen. Yeah, Hugo Strange. Yeah, King Tut, Egghead, the Condiment King. Oh goodness. But yeah, no. What a dumbass statement, dude. So many of the
It's
things names I just mentioned. Sure, comic book people know. Maybe the normie doesn't. However, a lot of what I just said, everybody knows, right?
yeah, yeah.
So you win moron of the week, Bruce.
Mr. Tim. Well, no, we're gonna have to. I'm telling you, when I take over, Chester, I'm gonna make a registry of all Bruces,
Yeah, you need
and
to.
it's just the way it's
It's
going.
got to
Like
be done.
if you're not up to snuff, we don't grant you the title of Bruce.
Just
I can't be done.
don't be too harsh on Bruce Lie. He's still around.
See, some of them will just take themselves out, like Bruce Jenner. He
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
worthy of the name
yeah. It's
Bruce. I
true.
don't care how many
He
gold
gave
medals he had,
he
so he just gave it up.
relinquished it. He relinquished it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, as far as I know, Bruce only had one medal, right? Of course, it was in the
I don't know how many he had.
decathlon, which is
Right.
used to be
I
king
have
of the Olympics.
I have absolutely no idea how many he had, nor do I largely care because
That's
they're
true.
meaningless.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
it is funny that he redacted
He
himself.
did.
It
He
became
did.
a whole other identity.
He did. I saw our Bruce Lie. Because after Bruce Lee died. Now I understand these days people are much more knowledgeable about Mr. Lee, and he was a little bit of a dandy, and he was a little bit of an asshole on set, and
Yep.
he was very good at selling himself. I get all of that, but you can't take away the athleticism. You can't. You can't take away the impact both he and Chuck Norris had on bringing martial arts to America. You know, don't and I would say Chuck is probably more influential than Bruce, but Bruce has got his place, dude. Um, and you just can't take away the athleticism. A lot of you remember that old what was that European phone company that's like got ate up by someone? You don't see him anymore. Start with an N.
Nokia.
Nokia had a commercial years and years and years and years ago, where they took a just some random video of Bruce playing ping pong with nunchuck,
Yep.
right? And they filtered it and they touched it up a little bit, did some stuff. But I've seen the original video that they took that from. He's still playing ping pong with frickin' nunchucks. Still. It doesn't matter
Yes.
that they altered that video for their commercial. If you go watch the original, he's still doing that shit. You show me another human that can play frickin' ping pong with nunchucks. Now, to be fair, the guy he was playing against wasn't going hard at him, but still, So
Yep.
I understand the angst against Bruce, but Bruce is what it is. And when he died, everybody and their brother was trying to take that spotlight. Bruce Lie failed, but Jackie Chan succeeded.
Jackie did it, and did indeed
He did.
succeed. Old Jackie. Yeah, no. The Bruce name deserves more respect than any of this other stuff.
True. Anyway, enough of the idiots, because that's an idiot. Boy, let's go take a look at Rotten Tomatoes. Is there anything here I care about? Let's see here. All this stuff is stuff that's been out, and that's not new. A new and upcoming. Here we go. The Crow. No. Okay.
No thanks. Yeah.
Blink Twice. Okay. Making Money. Okay. Okay. Uh, Not Making Money. Let's see here. Greedy people. Yep, that's just humans. Okay. Uh, it ends with us. Love. It feels lovey to me. Between the temples. Anything here? Cuckoo. Rear Window. Why are we? Is that a re-release? It is. Hmm. They're re-releasing Rear Window into theaters. Isn't that interesting? They do that from time to time. Borderlands is up to 11%. You go. You go, girl.
Oh, coming
Uh,
back.
it's coming back, baby. Now, what do you think about this? The new Beetlejuice. What do you think?
Eh.
Yeah, I have no interest in it. I don't need it, but that doesn't mean it won't be fun, though. If it's
I'm not
fun,
a
it could be
huge
great.
fan of the original person, but
It was
it's not
fun.
it's not to my taste. I don't much like that director. Period. To be honest with you.
Tim Burton, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I will see. My wife and her brother plan on going to see it, but I'm good.
Alan's trying to make a joke. You keep trying
But
there, Alan. You keep trying. But yeah, no, this was a fun thing to watch at a gathering, right?
yep,
A Beetlejuice, if you're at like with a bunch of friends and you want to all sit down and watch a movie, it's that kind of movie. It's just fun. It's not offensive. It's something that you can talk over. It's one of those kind of movies. Now, this right here with our boy Zachary Levy. Now, it's an absolute tragic bomb, right? However, Harold and the Purple Crayon. I This is from Cat and Kangaroo, right? And I know that's really a lot of you have no clue what the hell I'm talking about. But Captain Kangaroo was a thing that came on that was existing before Sesame Street and the Electric Company. And Sesame Street was the victor in all of that, and it's still running today. Badly, but it's still running. However, Captain Kangaroo was my childhood, without question. And on there was a little short called Harold and the Purple Crayon, and the things he drew came true. It was a very cute little thing I grew up with, and Zachary Levy has been Harold brought into the real world with his purple crayon. Now it's meant for little kiddies. Captain Kangaroo is for little kiddies. I mean, like kindergarten, first grade, little kids. So I don't know why you would do a live action. Just do an animated thing for the kids, right? But I guess they were trying to play on the nostalgia of my generation. But boy, did it fail! Holy dude, I haven't even seen anyone do a review of it. That's how bad it failed. No one even bothered to talk about it.
yeah, yeah, that's what happens nowadays. Things just get ignored.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's just sad for me because it is super nostalgic. But
It is.
and I don't mind Zachary. I'm not. I mean, I didn't care. The Shazam movies were imperfect. They were a failed thing, but it's not his fault. His part in it, I thought, was fun. I think he played the idea of a kid in an adult body really well. He was likable, and he was in that TV show Chuck, I think it was called, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And he was very likable. He's very likable, Zachary Levy. Good old Jewish name. Yeah, it's unfortunate for you, buddy. And of course, Twisters here was people having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I don't know. Let's go see what's going over here. Let's go to this and see what's happening. All right, so Deadpool Wolverine still bringing the money, and let's go see what's the overall here. So Alien Romulus won the weekend, which I don't know. That's not saying much, because it used to be not too long ago. Keep in mind, prices have gone way up, right? What are your ticket prices you're looking at right now?
Um,
And you're like
I
in
want to say,
Ohio or something.
yeah. Oh, I can tell. I can just tell you what we found out. How about we find out? What's your name, Chester?
Hmm. Better
How
known
about we
as.
find out? Yes. So, if I were to go to old Deadpool and Wolverine right now,
Uh huh.
literally right now, if I
Uh
go
huh.
to the main website, I'm 11.50 a ticket
Wow.
for one ticket on a Sunday night.
So it's doubled since I was there.
That's right.
Double the cost.
That's right.
So therefore, when I was still living in America, if you had a AAA movie with huge money behind it, and of course they spend way more money these days than they did before, but nevertheless, AAA dropped to $41 million. That's a failure. That's a
Yes.
bomb, right? Now we can cut that in half for the actual value, right? So effectively, a $20 million opening is abysmal. It's abysmal, right?
Yep.
for Alien Romulans. This is a bad. But we talked about this months and months ago, dude. This was going to be a bad year for movies, and boy, unfortunately, we were right.
Yep.
Boy,
As the culture has shifted away from the leftist Hollywood, and they've lost the ability to just throw out anything and make money with it.
yeah,
They haven't adapted as quickly as they should, mostly just due to their own ego and stubbornness.
yeah,
But we're starting to hear the rumblings of the adaptation coming, where people are supposedly getting fired and this and that. Big, huge swaths of departments are shut down. They've shut down certain, what we would consider woke areas of their organization, and on and on and on and on and on and on it goes. This is all good news for everybody who wants quality, but it's going to take some time if they have the will to see it through to get back to some sense of normalcy. Where this movie, unfortunately, is going to get lost in the shuffle because of it, but Deadpool and Wolverine, because it was a movie that people have wanted to see for a very long time, for one,
right, yeah,
and
yeah,
for two, because it was nothing like the rest of what Hollywood's been putting out
right.
insofar as it was made with a grateful heart.
Well, look
That's what
at
they've lost.
yeah. In general, the things that are making money are the kids stuff, and I get it. Parents taking
Yep.
their kids out for the weekend, right? I 100%
And it's
understand
made with a grateful heart. They're not out here trying to, piss
in
anybody
general. Yeah,
off
just
or,
have some fun.
offend anybody. They're just
Yeah,
having fun.
but look at Borderlands. This is domestic. These are domestic numbers.
It just came
13
out, bro.
million, dude.
It just came out. I bet they're not even going to make enough money to pay the actors back.
Dude,
Like the money they spent on paying the actors, they're not going to make that back.
Harold made more money.
Yeah, that's right.
Harold made more money than a AAA film.
Yeah,
Goodness gracious, dude! And look at our boy Nick Cage in a very weird role, and that's saying something with Nick Cage because he's weird. He's a weirdo. Love him, but
he
he's
is.
weird.
He is.
And then his character in Long Legs is weird, dude. Whoa, he was having a good old time. $72 million. This thing. It's been out for a few weeks, but still,
Yeah.
just murdering it. Because Nick Cage, A Quiet Place Day One has been out for a while, and only 138 million. Not great.
It's not. In fact, did you know that Nick Cage has been cast to play John Madden in the John Madden film
Oh, that's
about his
perfect.
life?
That's perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's perfect.
And what's crazy is apparently from what we understand, Nick Cage is going to play John Madden after he coach. So him winning the Super Bowl, doing all that, they're not even going to talk about any of that. They're just going right into John Madden, the broadcaster. I find that interesting. Anyway, Nick Cage is awesome, and I'm glad to see him get more work because the reason why these old evil white guys keep
Uh,
getting all these roles
uh,
is because one, they're professional enough to
well,
know how to do their job,
he's
and
Italian.
two, well, white enough, and two, uh, they actually still draw some money. I know that's kind of the point of making a movie is to have people come pay you to watch it.
Mhm,
That's kind of the whole deal.
mhm.
That's the business, guys. That's the business model.
Okay.
We make movie. People like movie. They give us money to watch movie. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it
Well,
is.
let's look what he's done over the past, year or so. So 2023 on. The Old Way, didn't watch it. Renfield, adored
Look
it.
at
The
this.
Flash,
Look at all
don't
these
care.
movies.
It was a cameo. Sympathy for the Devil, wow, dude, go watch that movie. Don't know this one. Don't know the. Oh no, the Retirement Plan. I did watch it. It was fun. Arcadian, interesting, interesting. He is not the main character though, although he's in the nearly entire movie. The Surfer, no clue. Long Legs, pretty. This movie is it's a it's a psychological thriller. It's not a horror movie. It is, but it isn't. But this is a very clever movie. It's very clever, and it's weird, but in a good way. I would suggest Long Legs. It's pretty good. And he got dude castles. Yet the castles are expensive. Um, so Spider another Spider. He's coming back as Spider-Man Noir. Madden. There it
Yep.
is. There it is.
Yeah,
He's
there it
playing
is.
Yuri Olov, dude. That's interesting. Carpenter's
Yep.
son is that a Jesus? He's playing the Jesus. Spider Noir, they're getting his own. Finally, idiots. Took you
Yep.
long
He's
enough
getting his own series. Yep.
because they want Miles to be the thing, but the people's favorite thing from that movie was freaking Nick Cage, dude.
Yep.
Even my kids were the Nick Cage is the absolute best thing, and then the
He's actually
gunslingers.
perfect for that too. He got a perfect voice for Spider.
Well, yeah, for that type, yeah, he does.
Yep.
But our Nicky boy, he is busy. He is busy.
Yeah, yeah. A Gunslingers remake, huh? That could be good.
It could be.
That
It
could be
could be.
good.
It could be. But
Gunslingers is
usually
good.
he puts out crap, and then brilliance. Crap, brilliance. It's Nick
Yep.
Cage, dude. Prisoners of Ghostland, that's hard to get through. It's hard. You have to be dedicated Nick Cage fan to watch that movie all the way through. It's hard. It's so stupid. Willy's Wonderland. I don't. Have you seen this movie?
I have not.
Ah, it's. I don't know that I liked it, but it is Nick Cage coming into the set and saying, "Okay, I'm going to play the janitor. I'm going to drink a lot of energy drinks, and I'm not going to speak at all in the entire movie." And they said,
Sounds about
"Yes,
right.
yes, sir, Mr. Cage." And so I don't know. It's worth the watch though. It's a weird thing. It's Nick though. The Pig, excellent. If you haven't watched it, what are you doing? That's a good movie. Um, the unbearable weight of massive talent. This one is he plays himself.
Yes, he plays himself in a parody of his own life.
I know it's hilarious. Renfield. He's not the main cast, but I adore it though. It's absolutely great. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. Sympathy for the Devil is excellent. And of course, if I just open this, we're going to get nothing but love. Oh,
It just gets better.
Jiu-Jitsu, bad B movie, but Nick's in it. Kill Chain, Run with the Devil, Colorado Space, excellent. Between Worlds, Looking Glad, Mandy, whoa, Mandy. Mandy is maybe one of his best movies, dude, he's ever made. Have you seen this one?
I have.
Yeah, dude, Mandy's pure
See, that's
Nick.
what he's been. That's what he's been doing for the last decade or so because he had tax debts to pay off.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, he's been doing a lot of. He didn't want to get Wesley Snipes, so he's been doing a lot of this. He's been doing a lot of basically B movies.
Just bring in
Some
the
of which
money.
are really really good, and other ones are
Wow.
they're a paycheck.
Wow. Mandy is something though. It's surreal. But he loves that. He is an auteur in a way. But Mandy's an excellent film. Humanity Bureau, it got a lot of knocks on it, but it's worth watching for popcorn thingy. It's whatever. Let's see here. Vengeance, Arsenal, dumb movie. Army of One, it's fun. I didn't see Snowden. Looks like it's a good one though. But
Yep.
I don't think he's anywhere near the main cast. Dog Eat Dog. Just look at the load of crap, dude. So much of it.
Right
So
there, there
much.
it is. There it is. Speaking of crap,
Yeah,
second Ghost Rider movie.
it's pretty
Holy
bad.
lord!
It's pretty bad. Drive Angry. I adore this movie. I've watched it
There's
twice.
Sorcerer's Apprentice. I'm actually sad Sorcerer's Apprentice didn't do better because it's not bad.
It's
It's
not
not
bad.
great,
Season
but
of the
it's fine.
Witch is fun. I mean, he had a
I don't
run
blame
here,
him.
boy. Drive
Yeah,
Angry,
I don't blame
killer
him for
movie.
that.
No, no, no. Drive Angry, killer fun movie. Season of the Witch, entertaining. Sorcerer's Apprentice, like I said, I liked it. Kick ass. Dude, he stole the
Yep,
freaking movie. Just like he
he did.
did in the Spider Man movie where he played Spider Man Noir. He steals the entire movie. Big Daddy. Bad Lieutenant Protocol. This actually is interesting. It's not a bad movie. This is a Christian movie. That's why I asked because he does Christian stuff sometimes. He's not
Yeah, well,
against it.
they pay.
Well, they pay, but I don't. He could be a
Checks
Christian,
clear.
right?
He could be.
Uh,
He's Italian.
yeah, it's true.
Makes sense.
But the carpenter's son. Let me go click on this here. Let me see, because it instantly Jesus comes into mind. Family hiding in Roman Egypt. Son known as the boy doubts guardian. The carpenter rebelling with mission. Dude, where do these people learn how to write?
I don't
Jesus,
know.
what the hell?
At this point, bring the AIs because they
Yeah,
cannot be
yeah.
worse than some
But
of these people.
it's Christian esque. It looks like.
Yeah.
So interesting. But anyway, is there anything else to talk about over here? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we're done.
Well, there is
Yeah,
one thing
yeah.
coming out very soon here next week. Is the only game that's coming out this year that I'm actually looking forward to,
Uh huh.
and that's Black Myth Wukong.
Oh,
The
right.
Wukong game.
Yeah, yeah.
It's coming, and it is, of course, because of course it is. It's divisive as hell. So in China, all of the Chinese websites, which many of which are owned by Western companies, but yet they're Chinese, so they have to be very pro-Chinese. Uh, have given it crazy praise, right? Huge praise. It's a great, one of the best games ever made, the best game ever made, blah, 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 10 out of 10, all this stuff. Well, then you read from the same companies, mind you, their Western versions of these reviews, and they'll be, oh, it's middling, it's a 6, it's a this, it's a that. And the stated reason that the Westerners keep giving it low marks,
Uh huh.
Chester, I shit you not,
Uh-huh.
is because it is not diverse enough.
What? And a story specifically about a monkey god and
Yep.
all of the yomi that he
That's,
has to fight? Not
yeah,
diverse
he's
enough, huh?
fighting. He's fighting demons and spirits and monsters and other such things, and he is literally a monkey man.
Yeah.
So apparently they're upset that somewhere in this mythos they didn't shove in a bunch of Africans.
Uh huh.
Apparently, that's what the Western
Yeah.
people, because I've seen some of the reviews and they break it down. They break down the bullet points, and the main one on all of the negative well, not negative, but more negative than I think they should be reviews is that it's not diverse enough.
Yeah. Journey in the West didn't really have a lot of blacks in it.
Not a lot of Africans in there. Not a lot of
No.
sub-Saharans
Didn't really
showed
have
up.
any whites in it either.
Nope.
Matter
Not a
of
lot of
fact,
Europeans.
the damn
Huh.
thing was racist as hell. It's only a bunch of Chinese people.
Yeah. And demons and
Racist.
gods
Lots
and
of
things.
demons.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
gods. They're all of them Chinese, though.
Yeah.
Racist.
That's horrifyingly racist that
Horrible.
this novel, this folk tale from China was very heavily Chinese. I know it's shocking, right? But it is. It's kind of like being upset that the Little Mermaid isn't full of black people. Well, don't worry, Disney's here to fix that for you. They're gonna fix it. They're gonna fix your folklore, people. They're gonna fix your novelizations things. God, imagine that.
Well,
Somebody finally, I've been wanting a Wukong game, a good one, forever.
sure,
I think
sure.
Wukong is a really cool character. I was talking about this the other day. He's up there when it comes to like cross cultural relevance to somebody like a Hercules. Right? He's kind of that guy in Asia. You know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah.
I've been wanting something like that forever. I think it's a cool story. I think he's a cool character with interesting powers. If you did it right, it could be a lot of fun to play. And by and large, even the negative reviews are saying don't have a single mechanical complaint really to complain about as far as the gameplay. They all say gameplay is smooth, transformations are fun, blah blah blah, this kind of stuff.
Looks good.
Yet somehow, they still find a way to complain because I don't know. There's not gay people in it. There's not a
Yeah.
bunch of random black people in it for some reason. Like
Yeah.
these people are insane. They're
They are.
insane.
We know that. But yeah, there's no real comparison in the West or even here in Japan per se when it comes to Wukong or Goku, right?
Yeah,
Son Goku. It's the way the Japanese say it. But there's no comparison because in China, even touching into Taiwan and Hong Kong, right? Anything the Chinese people are attached to. I I don't even want to hazard a guess of how many stone monkey things there are.
Mm.
The amount of movies, the amount of TV shows, animations, it's got to be in the hundreds. I lived in Taiwan for a fairly short period of time, respectively. And in that time, I saw a total of 5 Stone Monkey movies. 5.
Yep.
It's insane the desperate desire for everything to be Stone Monkey or Wukong, right? There's
Right.
only one other character. The Chinese are like this. They have one character, and they just beat the hell out of it over decades.
Right.
Wukong is one of them. The other one is Huang Fei Hong. Huang Fei
Yep.
Hong is the guy who fought against the British and the foreigners. Every martial artist, actor you know has played him. I guarantee it. Li
Mm.
Ling Chang or Jet Li has played it. Jackie Chan has played it. Bruce Lee has played it. Bruce Lee played it. Every
Yep.
single solitary Asian martial art action hero has played Huang Fei Hong. Every single one.
Right.
Because he's a national hero to the Chinese people, which is really weird because the whole principle of those movies is Huang Fei Hong pushing out the evil foreign influence. And yet,
Yep.
it's coming from communists whose entire government and culture is now built upon foreign influence.
That's correct. Yep.
It's very bizarre to me. It's as if they have a blind spot for the fact you do realize your entire system is built upon a lazy ass, noisy, potentially gay Jew guy, as opinion, right?
That's right. Yep.
You know that, right? But whatever. But they love themselves. They're Stone Monkey, and they love themselves. They're Huang Fei Hong, savior of the people.
He saved him, all right.
He did.
Saved him real good.
To be fair, Bruce Lee, of course, he did a really good version. People like it. Jackie's, I think, is better. It's almost a carbon copy of the Bruce Lee movie, however. But of the people you know, Donnie Yen did a pretty good version of it. The fight, ooh, that's tough, dude. I would go with Li Ling Chang or Jet Li. We call him Jet Li in the West. Everyone else calls him Li Ling Chang, right? But the little dragon boy, and uh, I don't know. Donnie Yen's fighting is so visceral, right? Donnie's really
Yes.
good at that. Where Jet is all flash, right? But I don't know which one I like better. Chinese Connection is the Bruce Lee one. It's that story, right?
Right.
You've seen it. Everybody has played this character, and there's a bunch of Chinese martial art actors you don't even know have done. And when you go to the video store, and when I lived in China, there's an entire wall dedicated to Huang Fei Hong, and another wall dedicated to Stone Monkey.
They love it.
And then there's a small section of other weird propaganda shit and the few Western movies that are allowed in. So
Right.
there you are. But yeah, no, it looks
Yeah.
great. I've seen, and it
Jackie has even played the Monkey King as well. Did you know that, Chester? In a 2008 movie.
three
Played,
times. No,
yeah.
3 times.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know he did it more than once.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Uh, but no, and that's, you know what? I respect the hell out of the Chinese people for having this much love for their own culture. I think that's almost wholesome. Uh, and I think the Monkey King Wukong is an awesome character. He's one of the foundational storytelling characters for all storytelling, not just in the East, and at least modern storytelling. So, as long as, and I'm sure they did, because like I said, they're a Chinese company, they gave the character the proper respect. I really don't see if mechanically the game seems to be wonderful. Performance wise, my computer's not that new. I bought it in 2021. Um, They created a benchmarking tool that you can download, and it runs through certain areas that are going to be in the game, and basically just gives you an
Yep.
idea of what your frames are going to be.
Right. Right.
And I downloaded that, and I was a solid positive over 60 the entire time, and I didn't touch a single setting. I changed nothing. I just pressed play, opened it, hit the button, let it rip just to see. So if that benchmarking tool is to be believed, the game seems fairly well optimized when it comes to smooth frames, which is going to be very important in a high action combat game like that. Um, if your only complaint about a video game of all things set in a fictional version of ancient China is that there's not enough diversity in the racial makeup of the characters, you're a fucking moron. And no one should. You shouldn't be allowed to post things on the internet. We should take away your ability to do so
Hmm.
in a professional manner. You can do it on your own little private account, whatever. But in a professional manner, this is ridiculous that we allow this to happen because it's just a lie. It's just a lie. You're just being a liar. You're saying things that are untrue and framing things in a negative way to push forward some weird agenda that everything has to have different shades of brown people in it for some reason. Everything does, even ancient Chinese folklore, has to have that, or else it's racist. That's preposterous on its face. And everybody knows it. And like I was saying earlier, these people are a hyper minority of people in the world. The vast majority of the world disagrees with them
Yeah. Yeah.
on everything. And they think because they have loud voices on the internet in other places that they are a majority, that everybody agrees. Everybody loves this thing that we love. This and no one else is racist. That's only white people. It's all bullshit. It's all lies. Everybody knows it. Anybody like you live in Asia, everybody knows it's bullshit. There's horrifically racist people in Asia, and they're fine with it. And they're racist to each other. The most racism I've ever personally seen in my life, the most actual racism I've ever seen, was my Puerto Rican aunt and a Mexican friend. She hated him just because he was Mexican,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she literally told my sisters, "Don't I ever see you dating a Mexican man because Mexican men beat their women." Exact words. She said it right in front of the whole family,
Wow.
and I was flummoxed at this. I said, "Where'd that come from?" I couldn't believe it because I was young, right? I was real young at the time, and then I got to know people a little bit more. Realized that this is a pretty common thing. The Puerto Ricans and the Mexicans, and really all of them, don't like each other much, and these sorts of things are perfectly normal, natural, and healthy for humanity as long as they don't lead to violence or whatever. But this idea that these libs have, that these radical lefties have, that everybody wants to be treated equally and then reciprocate that equality to everybody else is nonsense. There's nowhere in the history of the world where that's been the case. People want to be treated exceptionally. They don't really care, most of them anyway, don't really care if other people aren't as well, as long as they are. People are very selfish, very greedy, and they're very self-centered and self-interested creatures. And that's okay, because as long as you can keep a lid on that to some degree, as long as you can base a system around that reality instead of trying to ignore it, you can control it. You can curtail it, you can prevent it from causing damage, this selfishness of human nature. But when you have a system like these people have built that denies the reality of human nature, which is that people are kind of shit. We're kind of the worst, humans. When you have that, you're just going to get more of it because you cannot heal a wound. You cannot cure an infection if you don't tend to it. And you're not going to tend to it if you pretend it's not there. And that's where we're at. And so these people complaining about this game, this video game of all
Yeah.
things, as if it's some kind of grand problem that it doesn't have a bunch of diversity in it. These people, unfortunately, the reason why this stuff matters is because these are the people who are ruling the United Kingdom right now
Yeah.
and are cracking down on the white British for daring to have an opinion on the internet.
Or
That's
just
where this
wanting
leads.
their families to be safe.
Yeah, how
Just
dare they?
how dare they? But
Bastards.
you know, it is oddly connected, even though those two things are disparately seeming. Uh, but
Yes.
um, but you
It's the
know,
thinking, the thought process that leads to it. It's the same
yeah,
thought process. The desire, because somebody said this recently, and I agreed with. Uh, Marxism is a direct result of liberalism because what Marxism is trying to do is fulfill the promises that liberalism made. The idea that everybody is equal and must be equal is a
enforced
liberal idea,
equity.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they go one step further. They say, well, wait a minute. If everybody's equal, why are there rich people and why are there poor people? Well, we can't have that. So let's have the state take that wealth from these people and give it over to these people. Well, as we've seen throughout the last 150 or so years, that's a travesty and creates nothing but misery to everybody involved. Sure, at the beginning, maybe the poor people are loving life, right? They're killing. They're all right. I got some money. I got this. I got that. But then they squander it, and then everybody's poor now. So good job, commies. You made everybody's situation
Well,
worse.
with the Son Wukong character, which I don't know why they left the Son out of it, but they just went Wukong for some reason.
Yep.
Son is the religious epitaph, and
I
that's the
think I know
point.
why. I think it's
Um,
part of the story. Go ahead.
Maybe he earns it at the end. That's probably true.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But um, with these people making all these comments, really the best way to shut them up is just say, you do realize that Sun Wukong is a religious figure.
That's right.
He's literally central to the Buddhist ideals,
That's right.
literally. And seeing as they're not Christian, they'll back up because they don't they'll
Yep.
hate on the Christian all day long. Uh,
That's
but
right.
uh, uh, but as far as other religions, they show respect. So just tell them this is a religious character you got here. You're basically picking on the Chinese Jesus,
Yep.
you know. And he's even in many ways he's a better than that character because and don't stop it because he is completely impure, childish, and foolish, is the whole point in the beginning of the story. Just
Right.
like the Gnostic version of the baby Jeebus, he is troublesome and noisy. He has to learn to be godly, right? Wukong had, a stone monkey or a monkey king, but he's stone monkey because he was born from a stone, right? Um, he is a rascal, is the best word I'd put on it. And he gets into all kind of silly troubles because he's a fool, right? But by the end of the story he gains wisdom at great sacrifice to himself, which is the whole point of the character, redemption.
Yeah. Which I think is because obviously I don't know, I haven't played it yet, but one of the original like reveal trailers or whatever they put out of it is where you see Wukong fighting, he's fighting, he's fighting, he's fighting, he's fighting, and he wins, but he's nearly beaten. And then an older, what looks like an older, more mature version of himself comes and has a moment with the other version. And a lot of people were speculating, are they going to use like some kind of time travel thing or blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But it's very interesting because I think
uh,
what they were implying is he's not Sun Kong
he's not
yet.
Son. He
Has
doesn't have the Son
yes,
epitaph yet. Yeah, that makes sense.
right. Yeah, so I think that's where they're going with it. I don't know. We'll know here in a few days. It comes out. I'm going to wait until a few other people put out information about how it plays. I'm not worried about whether or not there's brown people in it, but how it plays before I jump into
It
it.
looks great. I saw a trailer
It does.
recently. It
It looks
looks really
so
good.
clean. Yeah. So if it
It
if it
is, Roger.
plays
That's
as
true.
clean as it looks, I'm going to be playing that game, and I'll let you know what story they decided to tell with it.
Yeah, no, and the characters around him are very interesting. And it's
Yep.
interesting that he is the most beloved character because of the redemption arc. But keep in mind, he's got basically a kappa, a river spirit with him. He's got a a pig character who's a glutton who was banished because he literally dared to eat food from the god's table. And then
Right.
you have a priest uh, or a priestess because the character is always presented as very effeminate, right? And often played by women. So it's a bit confused. But the priest is interesting in the story because he or it is ultimately the one that does bring the books back from India, right?
Yes.
Introducing Buddhism back into Asia. Because keep in mind, it is a reintroduction. But that person, that priest, supposedly, if you go to Sun Moon Lake in, and that's the English word sun, not sun, but Sun Moon Lake in Taiwan, beautiful place.
Yep.
Up on the mountains around that very holy, this is a holy place. It always has been. There are many temples and shrines all over the place. It's a holy pilgrimage site. One of these big old giant gazebos, one of those, not gazebos, the pagodas, right? Many
Right.
layered Chinese pagoda. It's super huge. It's way up in the mountain. You gotta climb like a million steps to get to it, which is the point. Anyway, Chinese in most places in the world, to go to religious places, you got to walk up a lot of damn stairs and don't die. So anyway,
Yep.
but supposedly that priest's bones are interred there.
Interesting.
Mm. I didn't bother to climb the mountain to see though, because who's got time for that? I did go to the main temple overlooking the lake, though. Boy, it's gorgeous. And I, of course, took a little boat to the center of the lake where there's a perfect little island right in the center. They call it Sun Moon Lake because if you stand on the western side, it looks like the lake is very round. It looks like a sun. But if you go to the eastern side to look, it looks like a crescent moon. Therefore, Sun Moon Lake. But there's a little teeny island right in the middle of the damn thing, little teeny thing. And there's a shrine on that for good luck in marriage and making babies and fertility and that kind of stuff. And my wife and I actually we were not married yet, but we were engaged. We took a ride on the boat and went over to it for good luck for marriage. Seemed to work.
Yep.
So, been together almost 30 years. I guess it worked. But then
Looks
again,
like
she's
it.
very patient, and I'm not that much of an asshole.
Well, well,
Well, to her,
that seems more accurate. Seems,
yeah. But yeah, no, it does look good, and these people are moronic. The ever growing list of what is now racist. I'm sure paper is next on the list. Paper is
it,
racist.
it probably is because it dares to be white.
Yeah, what have you?
How dare it?
Yeah, how dare
How
it
dare it be
even?
white?
I saw
Yep.
this. I saw two things happen this week, which I'll close out with this. Two things that made me laugh a lot. Um, One was a meme, and it had this rotund white girl. I'm being kind. Rotund. And beyond, now there's some big girls that at least have a little bit of a pretty face going on, right? I've seen plenty
Yeah.
of big girls that have a pretty face for sure. This girl didn't have that, and she was rotund. And she was making a declaration on probably the TikToks. I think it was a TikTok, but
Oh.
someone had took it and memed it. And she said, this is her statement. Um, if you're white, no chance. If you're a Latino, we could talk about it. If you're a black, it's a go. And the meme
Yeah.
said, "Finally, the white people get a reprieve," or something like that. It was
Finally, I think it said finally evidence of white privilege.
probably evidence of white privilege. Yeah, 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 yeah. It was hilarious. That made me laugh. But the other one is the Olympics. Of course, we watched quite a bit of it, and I did anyway. My wife. However, I didn't watch the breakdancing because it doesn't belong. it's an
Well, it's going
art.
to be gone next
Well,
in
it's done,
2028
and it was
anyway.
killed by a single person, which is great. But
Yep.
it just doesn't belong. It's too. It's too. That kind of thing is an art. It's an art form. How do you judge it? Right? At least with the bicycle, you can do triple flips or whatever the hell they do. There are things that can be judged on your ability of doing it, but this is
Right.
so subjective. It's just what do you like, right? It
Right.
doesn't belong in the Olympics whatsoever. However, an Australian lady who it's the plot thickens in the most beautiful way. She and her family and friends are the ones who are involved in the Olympic board for choosing the breakdancers, and she got the job. And I've seen the video of the other girls who she was competing against in Australia, way way better than her, but she got the job
Yep.
because of nepotism, right? Plain and simple. She got the go and went to the Olympics because of nepotism. Um, and uh, and of course, the Olympics isn't going to have your best breakdancers anyway. One, they have to pass a clean drug test. Good fucking luck, dude. Good fucking luck, right? Two, most breakdancers or b girls or b boys or whatever they call themselves these days would consider it lame. And of course,
That's
keep
right.
in mind, it's had its heyday. It's not as cool as it used to be, right? But anyway, complete nepotism got this lady in. Everyone's hacking on her because, my God, dude, I actually think I could have done a better job than her. And I'm an old white guy.
You are an old white guy. That's true.
I am. But I really think it was so, and it's cringy bad. It's hard to watch it. It's that kind of bad. Some things are
Yep.
comedically bad, right? Or
Right.
ironically bad. This was just cringy bad. However, out of all the memes, everybody's talking about it, making videos, just having a good laugh. Because, with all the nonsense going in the world, we need a good laugh. And of course, she and her
It's true.
people blamed it on sexism, which is weird. I guess sexism doesn't apply to all the other girls at the Olympic breakdancing, just,
No.
her, the white girl. But no, there was one, it wasn't a meme, it was a clip that was the absolute chef's kiss, dude. You had these two black dudes, looks like they were doing a vlog or something. And one guy is what they're watching it, and they have their screen is like three quartered, and one quarter on the side of the screen is her doing her maneuvers, particularly her kind of slithering on the ground in that weird creepy way. However, one guy, his mouth is just agape, right? The other guy is perfect black dude moment. It was, you have black dude moments, right? There's redneck moments, black dude moments. People have moments. It was the
Yes.
perfect black dude moment. He said, "Man, whose mom is this?" It was so genuine and perfect. Oh, it made me laugh, dude. Because it's right. Whose mom is that?
Who the fuck brought their mom?
Yeah. Whose mom is this? It was the most black guy moment ever, dude. It was perfect. The best. The best. But yeah, of course, I'm talking about Rachel Gunn or Ray Gunn.
Oh
Ray
my
Gunn.
gosh. It's amazing how much damage she did to that
Oh God.
sport,
Yeah, yeah,
quote
yeah,
unquote.
yeah. It's not a sport. It's an art. Yeah,
No,
it
it's
doesn't
not a
belong
sport at
in
all.
the Olympics anyway because it's too
But none of the
subjective.
dancing does, in my opinion. I don't really think if you're dancing, you're not. That's not sport.
No, I mean it's athletic.
I would even say even figure skating and even any of that stuff. It's just dancing. It's
It's
really cool.
yeah, oh
It's
yeah,
impressive,
oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's if it's to me. This is one of the reasons why I'll say pro wrestling is a sport, but technically it's not because it's based on approval by the audience. Effectively, I don't typically consider anything a sport that isn't determined by pure athleticism. Meaning, these are the rules. I have to beat you at that.
Right, right.
Either one on one or with a
It
team. We have
can't
to
be
go at it.
subjective. It needs to
Yeah, it
be
needs to be
objective. Yeah,
almost combat. It needs to be combative. It doesn't have
in a
to be
way,
directly physical, but there needs to be an element of
competitive. right,
of combat,
yeah,
of competitiveness. Yes,
yeah, and not
and
and
figure
not to,
skating in
yeah,
this stuff
yeah, good,
is
yeah,
subjectively chosen by judges. To me, that's like a boxing match, right? Nobody wants to go to the judges. If it happens, it
right.
happens. But everybody wants somebody to win,
No,
somebody
it's
to knock a
true.
dude out or whatever.
Figure skating is
Um,
on the line, but they do have things that can be judged upon objective truth. So there is an
yes,
aspect of that. Breakdancing doesn't have that, and it can't have that, and it shouldn't have that. And it's nothing to knock on breakdancing; it is awesome. Um, but you're never going to get the best in the world doing it anyway. It's just you're not. It can't exist together. They just can't
right.
exist together. Like one of the best breakers I've ever seen. I mean, there's been some amazing people over the years for sure. But my family used to love watching that show, So You Think You Can Dance. For me, it was a bit cringe, just like America's Got Talent and all that kind of crap. But they liked it, so we watched it. And there were occasionally some really, really stunning, individuals who would show up, right? And there's this guy named Twitch. He's a black dude. This is years ago. I don't know how I even knew him. More than a decade ago. His name was Twitch, and that guy was just so smooth in his locking and popping and stuff, right? And have you ever seen him?
If not,
Yeah, it really, really, really caught your attention. But it's also one of those things. This is another thing, and I suppose this can apply to anything Olympic level. Uh, you can't learn body rhythm. I don't
right.
care how many
That's
hours you
true.
put in the gym. You're not,
You
or
either
the dance
have
room.
it or you don't.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Body rhythm cannot be learned, right? You can't learn it. There are many sports that you can learn and gain a certain level. You're never going to get near to the people who are naturally talented at it, right? But there are a lot of sports you can, become something in it. You can accomplish. But body rhythm is not something that can be learned. You either have it or you don't have it, right? Ray Gun does not have it. I am partially
Wait.
gifted with it. Partially. My son is amazingly gifted with it. I don't know why. My daughter's not. Although, well, her ballet was okay, but she's not, she's like me, capable of doing,
Mm,
but not
mm,
gifted. You know what I mean? My son, on the
yeah,
other hand, he's just has this wonderful natural body rhythm. But that's not why he was so good at sport, because of that body rhythm, right?
yeah. It helps. Sure
It
doesn't hurt.
does. It does. Yeah.
Sure does not hurt. Yeah, I know. A lot of people. It's one of those things where again, we have this culture that is desperate to ignore genetics and is desperate to ignore,
Mhm.
well, just reality.
Yeah.
Some people, their genetics, the way they mix together, the way they form, give them advantages in certain things that if you don't have a similar, you're not going to overcome no matter how hard you work.
Yeah. 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 And the
Especially if they
Olympics.
work equally as hard,
Yeah,
right?
and the
If they also
Olympics
put
is
in
a
the
good
work.
show of that, right? You're
Yeah.
never going to have a white boy winning a sprint
We had some
because,
white girls.
yeah, but we're just not. Well, that's a different conversation, isn't it? Um, but we're just not fast people, and it's because our bones are so heavy. We're weighed down.
But you know what we will do is we'll dominate those strength
Yeah, because we
divisions,
have
those strength
big
practices.
bones and therefore can
Yep.
put on more muscle. So our advantage is in strength things, our disadvantage is in speed,
Speed. Yeah.
right?
Overall speed.
Agility.
Yep. And I mean, this is
And it's
why when you look
okay.
at, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. This is why when you look at the world's strongest man competitions, it's dominated by white people or typically, if there will be some black folks up in there, they're African American, which, spoiler alert, they're probably more white than they are
Well,
African.
the
So,
average the average African American, which is not a very it's a misnomer. The
yeah,
average African American is 60% European genetically.
that's right. That's right.
But anyway, it does create some pretty buff boys. I'll tell you that. But I actually one of the things I enjoyed the most with the Olympics this go around was the weightlifting. and
Pretty good.
and of course, a lot of people, the Middle Easterners and the Persians really love their weightlifting, right?
Yep.
Particularly in some of the lower weights. But even though the big boys, the over 102 kilo guys, right, over 200-pound guys, they are
Right.
pulling some pretty impressive weight, right? The most exciting one was the 89 kilo group, right? And there was this Belarusian, was he a Belarus or no, Bulgarian? A Bulgarian, another Bulgarian, and that famous Bulgarian from when I was a kid for weightlifting. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. I don't know his name, but Alexei something. But he was super
Yep.
famous there for a while. The big old Bulgarian guy. He actually was there and came and congratulated the kid because he took the gold. Not only did he take the gold, he broke the world record, which had stood since Alexei had broken it, right? So 30 plus years. Um,
That's
and it was just so exciting and so cool to watch this guy go after it because it was all about him. Everyone else was kind of had fallen by the wayside by that point, but it was all about him. And he broke the record, and he still had one pull to go, and he didn't bother taking it. I kind of wish he did, but that was just exciting. It was so cool to see this guy break the world record, and he did it so smoothly. That was neat.
smooth as butter.
hmm And then watching
Smooth as butter.
watching the Dutch absolutely crush their own world records in the indoor track biking. That was great. But then again, they do
They
call
seem to
them the bullet train.
they seem to like their bicycling in the old
Yep,
Dutchlands.
they like
Big
the
fans of it.
They do. They focus on the cycling for the and track stuff, but mainly cycling for Summer Olympics and the Winter Olympics. They own the speed skating. They own it,
Yep.
right? That's they're very smart. We're gonna focus our entire energy on two things, and we're going to become famous for it. And that's what they did. You know. But America, I guess we won the Olympics, I suppose. But I thought it was a pretty poor showing from the Americans. But then again, it kind of shows you how things have degraded in America. It really
Yeah.
does. There were
It's
a lot of
well. It's
bronze
also
medals, a lot of bronze medals, a lot.
it's also the fact that the American people don't really care about that stuff anymore at
Yeah,
all. Like
yeah.
there's I was talking to our friend Ben, and I was lamenting the fact that here we are another election season, and we're being presented yet again with these two choices. One of them is Donald Trump. The other one is Miss Harris.
Mhm.
And just that we have serious problems in this country. Serious, like real serious problems. Like, the petrodollar is dying. That's a big deal that no one seems to be talking about. It's pretty much dead, if we're being honest. We have a former president was just shot in the head a month ago, and the people who are going to investigate it are the same people who've been persecuting him for years. Uh, we have a huge loss of respect on the world stage, like we haven't seen in America since World War II, since before World War II, rather. Um, we have serious, serious, serious problems. One of them is we have a culture of people who just don't care, complete apathy culture. That's a serious problem. Serious problems in this country, and our options for a leader, or supposedly a leader, are a 78-year-old philanderer who is known notoriously for being a little bit of a scumbag when it comes to business dealings, and a whore.
Mm.
Um, and the only one, Chester, the only one with an actual plan of any substance, the only one who's presented a future vision of what he wants America to look like is the billionaire philanderer.
Mm.
That's where we're at. That's the best we can do,
Yeah,
apparently,
yeah,
in America now.
yeah.
And it's not even a dig at Trump necessarily. Trump is who he is, right? And I'm going to vote for him this time. I've decided after the bullet to the ear, which should have been to his skull, I got to vote for that man for that alone. However, At the end of the day, he's still Trump. He's still on my scale a C plus student for presidency, which is really good since the 1950s. Right, that's a pretty good grade for because we've had just a series of dog shit presidents.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so he's the best one since in the 40 years of my life. He's the best president we've ever had. That doesn't mean I think he's a great president overall. He's definitely not what we need, at least as far as in total. But compared to everything else we've gotten, he's pretty good. My point is that we have serious actual problems in America that are going to affect the whole entirety of the world in ways we haven't seen in the world in 100 years, and no one wants to talk about it in America. We all just want to pretend like everything's fine, and this delusion filters into things like the Olympics. America used to dominate the Olympics. It wasn't close. Even in my lifetime, that
Oh
was
yeah.
the case.
No, that's true.
And now we're basically coming in tied with China and
Yeah,
other countries.
barely
Like,
getting by. Barely getting by.
that's
Yeah.
not acceptable, guys. Like, what happened here? Why aren't we the greatest in the world anymore? Well, there's a lot of reasons,
They're all
but that's a
fat.
problem. That's a big problem,
Yeah.
and it's just very depressing. Now, I still believe, after all that, I still believe in America. What America is. It's not just an idea. America is a place and her people. And her people are still the best people in the world. We have just unfortunately been betrayed and stabbed in the back by people who are supposed to represent us and foreign interests who've been flooding our country with dark money to get what they want and with actual people to get what they want. So, however, all that being said, the people who used to build skyscrapers during a Great Depression, by the way, we were still building skyscrapers. The people who built the largest transcontinental railroad up until the Russians finally beat us. The people who have done all of these wonderful things in the history of the world allegedly went to the moon. That group of people still exists. We've just forgotten ourselves,
No,
and
sure.
it's because we're comfortable, and it's because we've had 2 or 3 generations of incredibly selfish people. Want to hear one of the best things I've heard in a long time? I heard it today. Wife
Whose
and I went
mom
to
is
the park.
this?
No, wife and I took the dog on a walk to the park. Right. Then afterwards, we decided we were going to get a little ice cream because it was a nice day out. Why not? Go to the ice cream place. The ice cream place, small little place, run by owned by a lady, and she's interviewing because it's a real small place, so they don't have anybody else to do it. She's interviewing this young girl. I'm assuming she's in high school, and this young girl, young black girl, has apparently, according to what I overheard, she's trying to get a job at this ice cream place. She already has another job, and she's in school, and she's a cheerleader at the school.
Mhm.
My point, Chester, that's a young woman who cares about her life. That's a young woman who has that thing about America that made America genuinely great. She has the audacity, the arrogance even, to think she's worth working for. She's worth putting in effort for. Not the country, not necessarily her family, that too, but herself. Remember, Chester, you know this, you've been all over the world.
Mm.
People used to have, I don't know if they still do, but people used to have this idea that Americans are really, really arrogant. Right?
Yeah.
We're kind of arrogant pricks,
Well,
right?
noisy
Even
first, arrogant second. But yeah.
Yes, even in movies, the Mummy movies from the 20 years ago with Brendan Fraser, the British guy, I can't remember his name, but it becomes his brother-in-law. Uh, there's a group of Americans, and there's this big firefight, and the Americans are loving it. They're having the time of their life, shooting guns at other people, getting shot at. They're loving it. And he just says one line that stuck with me my whole life. He just looks at them, shakes his head, and goes, "Americans." That is what the world used to see us as these full of bravado cowboys, right?
Yeah. Cowboys.
And
Yeah.
that's not the way anymore. America, the people here have forgotten themselves. And I do think that this next generation, these young people, whether it's Generation Z or what they're calling, but obviously of whites as well, are remembering themselves in a way that we haven't seen, a correction we haven't seen in American political life ever. Do you know, Chester, that in the polling that I've seen, the 18 to 29 demographic, the young demographic of voters, has shifted in some places up to 20 points or more to Trump. Now,
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
Democrats still have the
young
majority of that young vote.
men. The women
Yes,
are
that's what I was
more
going to get to.
radically left than ever
But
before.
but listen, but here's what I'm saying. Even in some places, even the women as well, the young girls have as well, shifted. They're still left. They're still majority, Democrat, whatever. But the shift is the biggest that we've ever seen in one demographic in one cycle. Now, why is that? Why does that happen?
Because people
And
are sick of this shit.
I think people have gotten so sick of this shit that they've started to remember who the hell they are. We were the outcast nation.
Yep.
Nobody wanted us.
No.
We found a place where we could build our own thing, and we built our own thing. And what do you know? We were pretty damn good at it.
And even to
And
this
we
day,
built
the Europeans still look down on us. Still.
still to this day, and that's all right. Listen, it's all
Yeah,
right,
that's all
Europeans.
right.
All right, go ahead, look down
Go
on
ahead.
us. Your
Yeah.
food sucks. The only good thing you have is from hundreds of years ago, and you got some pretty women. That's about it. Everything else about you is go ahead, have your opinion.
Well,
That is what made America great. Is we just decided a long time ago we don't care about their opinions anymore. We're done having to listen to them. We're going to come over here,
yeah,
this nice big continent, and we're going to tame that son of a bitch. We're going to grab it by its throat and make it do what we want,
that's right.
and that's what we did.
Although the beautiful women thing, stay away from the Baltic Peninsula.
well, I wasn't going to go there on them, but yes. Uh, But my point is, Chester, even with all of the terrible things about our election and our choices and our options and how the Democrats and the Republicans seem to only be able to work together when it comes to spending our money for foreign countries, shockingly, uh, all of that is all true and all of that is a problem. But the American nation, to use that word correctly, is not dead. And we are not going to die very easily. If anything has been proven in the last few years, I would say, is that the American spirit is very much alive, and we're not going anywhere. And as much as the globalists or the Zionists or whatever the group is called this time want to try and destroy us, and they have done a great job, no doubt, I genuinely believe they're going to fail because everybody's tried to destroy us. Throughout all of history, we are the bastard men. We
Yep.
are the outcasts, and we always have been. And that's okay. Because we just decide. We say, hey, you know what? We're gonna go to that moon. How are we gonna do it? Don't know, but we're gonna do it.
That's
And then
right.
we did it.
That's right.
That's what makes
Make it.
America actually great. Well, allegedly. That's what makes America actually. It's not anything else. It's not religion, that part of it. It's not even ideology. Capitalism. So no. Those are all symptoms of the audacity of the American spirit to think that they deserve to be great. That's what makes them great.
True.
It has nothing to do with anything else. And everything else is downstream of that. And all throughout history, when a people decide that they will accept nothing less than greatness, well, what do you know, son of a bitch? They get the pony.
They do.
And they become great. The Romans did it, the Greeks did it, the Persians did it, the Egyptians did it, the Chinese did it a couple times and then fell apart. Every time. The Mongolians did it
Well,
every time.
it is the cycle of things.
Yes.
Although it seems too soon for this cycle to be finished, to be honest.
Well,
But
we'll see,
nevertheless,
because one thing that is true is things move a lot faster than they used to.
well,
Uh,
yes and no.
hopefully, because of our ability to communicate is faster than ever before. Like what we're doing right now would be impossible 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Keep in mind that time is a perspective. I know that
Correct.
seems weird because we have clocks and shit, but it literally is how your brain works. It's your perception. That's why when you're a kid, time moves so slow for you, and as you get become older, it moves quickly. Because the more
Yep.
wisdom you have, the more knowledge you have, the better of understanding of reality you have, the quicker things literally move for you. So my time is much faster than, say, a 10-year-old's, right? When we're talking about the movement of time, I don't know that things move faster. I think information moves faster, but I don't know that actual time is moving any faster as far as
Well, no, I
information.
don't think. I think you're correct. I don't think time itself is moving faster. I think people's ability to react to information
Yeah,
is
yeah, the
faster.
information is certainly moving
Yeah.
faster. Yeah. Well, anyway,
And
I got to go to work.
I gen- we're going to let you go to work. I genuinely believe that these next two generations of Americans are going to decide what happens over the next 1,000 years.
Maybe,
That's where I think we're at. I
maybe.
think we're at a point very similar to where the Roman Republic was at with the Gracchis and then Sulla and then Caesar. I think that's where America's at. And we're gonna find out if the American people have the audacity to assume they're going to exist 1,000 years from now.
Again,
Yes.
of course, it'd be nice if we get a Teddy Roosevelt would be kind of handy.
Little Teddy Roosevelt, little Caesar Augustus. That'd be good. We could
Yeah,
use some of that.
be
One of
nice.
them great men of destiny. Come show up, get the job done.
Yep. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Do keep in mind that we have a full week here, so we get in a couple days we get continuing Iron Pass, and of course we have Drawn to Quarter Ultimate Edition this week, and we'll be back here next week talking about the various entertainment and way of the world. Nevertheless,
Excellent.
thank you all very much, and have a good weekend. Later, everybody.
Later, boys.